Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rem Alternis's Twitch channel, where we'll be running Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line, which coincidentally, completely unrelated to anything we're doing tonight, is actually in the middle of a Kickstarter. So if you want to head on over there at any time during the night because you think to yourself, I need this some such in my life, you can go over to Kickstarter and Google Misspent Youth or Fall in Love Not in Line, because the actual URL is just too long and complicated for me to tell you right now. But I'm sure Sarah's going to pop it in the chat as soon as we're done talking, now that I think about it.
Ignore the one that I just posted.
The one that's posted takes you to, I think, Coddlesworth, because I've made that mistake. That is the link that you want. Well, anyway, welcome to our stream of Misspent Youth. I'd like to do this first. I'd like to introduce everyone. In according to my screen, it's one order, but I'm going to look at the Twitch and see what order you're in. So we'll go top left clockwise, and I won't make any spoilers by saying names. So you just start introducing yourselves.
Hey, I'm looking at the screen and I see myself top left.
Brilliant.
So, hello, I use Sheep. Actually, my first live tabletop RPG. I'm very excited to learn. Oh,
Clockwise with me then, huh? Hi, I am Dapper. As usual, pronouns, gender, all very, very confusing. So I think we've settled on he, they, because reasons. And yeah, excited to play with a couple people and jump into it. I don't think I've ever even laid eyes on before.
I think I would be next. My name is Clifton Lambert, also known as Mr. Johnson of the Arcology podcast. I am also the lead writer for this next Misspent Youth book, Fall in Love Not in Line, and I get to play it tonight, so looking forward to that.
And to round it out, I am Vorrt. I normally play on Monday nights as Hugo Mitchell as part of the Paranormal Albany stream. I also normally host these Friday night events, but because we're in the midst of an awesome Kickstarter for a fun product, I decided to let my reins go free, let somebody else take the reins tonight. And I'm just gonna throw a little hype out there. Janatee makes some awesome, absolutely awesome crocheted characters out there. Is Fraggy even available to be shown off, Janatee? Put you on the spot a little bit.
Fraggy is fully too away from me right now because I didn't think it through. But
well, then we'll worry about that later. And then Opti, our GM, awesome person that he is, with fragging unicorns, with the arcology, with many other things, and currently beating me in the Battle of the Beards.
Don't think so, friend. I think you've got me at least.
I may have the length, but the shape of yours is way better.
I manicure my beard, sir.
I pay professionals to do that.
And that brings us to me. I'm Opti, and watch what happens when I take off my actual glasses and replace them with my stream glasses. No glare, because there's no lenses. But I can't stand to look at myself with no glasses. So I took some glasses, popped out the lenses. These are my stream glasses. And now, these are my business glasses. Time to get down to business.
I'm against my glare?
Yeah. That's it. Just get rid of glare. I can still read because things are close, so it's all good. Can't stand to look at myself with the glare. Anyway, I'm Opti. I'm the founder of Fragging Unicorns, and we just put out Kickstarter for Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line. You might also know me from writing stuff like Shadowrun or Earth Dawn or the Neo-Anarchist podcast or Shadowrun Origins or any other nonsense that we do. But what's important to me right now, what's near and dear to my heart, is this group of people, allowing them to have a good time. I'm actually really excited that some of you have never played Misspent Youth at all, or done any kind of stream at all, because this is the perfect type of thing to say, hey, look how awesome and easy we have made this game to play and how much fun you are going to have. So, this game, Misspent Youth, is a game of teenage rebellion in a fragged up future, and you are going to be stopping the adult holes from ruining the world around you. It is a primarily D6 based system, but it's only 2d6. You'll ever only roll 2d6 at a time. And other than that, there are very, very little mechanics, at least dice rolling mechanics. So I will walk you through all of that when it's time. What you need to know right now, as far as setting, is that you are in a world called Neo Babylon. That's the vast city sprawl of Neo Babylon, and it stands alone as the world's largest, wealthiest, and most influential city there has ever been. It's ruled by a council of mages, but everything that you need to know is that it has technology. It's like a future cyberpunk level technology. It has magic, and there are orcs and elves and dwarfs and goblins and that sort of stuff everywhere. So it's a fully fleshed out fantasy world. It's also that fantasy world fast forwarded to 50 years past our own. So there's all sorts of cool things like cyber decks and cyber arms and hacking and all that kind of great stuff. The neighborhood that you're in is in a rough part of Neo Babylon, one that's been struggling economically for a number of years. But there has been a recent corporate initiative that's pouring resources into your community, and it's bringing it a bright future. And this bright future is brought to you by Kingu Corp. And that brings us to the authority of the setting. The authority of the setting is the bad guy. But before we get to the authority, I'd like each of you to introduce your youthful offender. Our youthful offenders are the characters that the players will be playing. And I think we'll start with, well, I don't remember which ones you guys picked. So why don't we go in reverse order, starting with Vorrt, and you tell me who you're playing.
I am playing a very, very nosy but super smart creature named Panda, who's got some awesome convictions like smart and thrills, sneaky creature, and the best of all, boundless curiosity.
So Panda is this smart, thrill-seeking, curious dude, and Vorrt said that they have convictions. Convictions are your core sort of things that make you who you are, and convictions start off really good and pure, and then maybe by the end of the game they won't be so pure. But we won't get there right now. Just for our sake, just know that the convictions are the things that you will use to fight back against the authority. Let's see, who's next? Cliff.
Yeah, I'll be playing Witch. Witch is a bristly, self reliant former ganger with illicit cybernetics and a big chip on her shoulder. Let's see.
What are her convictions?
Her convictions are she is bad. She's a leather jacket wearing, rule breaking badass. She has another conviction called outrage. Injustice really makes her mad, and she's not afraid to express that anger to its face. Opportunity is she's an orphan. She doesn't have parents, and her foster parents only care about collecting a check, so she's barely ever supervised. Her MO is that she has illicit cybernetics. She's been implanted with a few illegal cybernetic modifications, all of which are concealable. You'll get to see those in action later. And she is self reliant, so she believes she can get by on her own and that asking for help is a sign of weakness.
All right, Dapper, who do you have?
So I'm playing Char Salem. They're a non-binary, prideful smartass, as I'm understanding. Smartass going in the land of, oh yeah, I'm actually intelligent and probably in the more irritating manner. They come from old money and study the arcane and are supremely overconfident.
Excellent. And finally, Janatee.
I will be playing Jace Goldenboy man.
And finally,
He
Janatee.
is an altruist and justice-minded elemental artist trusted by the man for now.
All right, so we've got
The man.
Panda, Witch, Goldenboy, and Char. Now, before we get started, we're going to do a sort of every episode we're going to begin, or every scene we're going to begin with what's called a friendship question. Now, friendship questions are one of my favorite parts of Misspent Youth, and it's basically world building that you share with one other character. So each scene, there will be a world building opportunity between two characters. And it's not something that they're actually role playing out, but it's one character will ask a question to another character in order to flesh out their backstory. You don't need to do it all at once, right? You play a couple scenes and then you have one question that comes out, then you play another scene, then another question comes out, and you sort of build your stories with your friends, right? The backstories with your friends as you go along. But before we get into any scenes, we're going to do a couple of friendship questions to get us started. On each of your sheets for your characters, you have a couple of friendship questions. You can choose any one of those, and everybody's going to go. They're going to choose one of those questions, and you're going to choose one of your fellow youthful offenders, and you're going to ask that question. In response, your fellow youthful offender is going to answer that question, or they can say, something to the effect of, I'll leave that mysterious for now. And then maybe they can reveal it somehow during the next scene. You don't have to, right? It's nice and it might be cool and flavorful if the answer to those questions come up during the scene, but do not feel pressure to do that. I find that just if it comes up naturally, it's really cool, but don't pressure yourself to do it. So let's start in the middle this time. A friendship question and then choosing one of your fellow youthful offenders. Show us how it's done.
All right, which I will ask Char. Hey, Char, have you forgiven me for giving you that scar?
Hell no.
Come
So
on. It looks nice on you.
It mars my face.
I mean, I think it makes it look better.
Of course you
So
would.
Use a little
there you
character.
go. We've established that one of these characters has given the other a scar. We don't know how, we don't know why. One of them thinks it looks cool and they think they should be forgiven, and the other one's like, my God, you've marred my face. So we'll start with Dapper. You just got asked a question. Why don't you choose another one of your questions and then somebody to ask that to?
Okay. Hey, Jace. You believe
Mhm.
the rumors I have magic powers?
Totally.
Wait for it.
Why would you believe those rumors?
Because I have studied the elements and I know that there's more to the world than the scientific explanations that we've been given. And I've recently started learning to question some of the things that I've taken as truth. So I hear about magic powers. I'm like, you know what? Maybe
so.
yeah, actually.
Excellent. All right, Janatee, pick a question that's on your sheet and pick somebody to ask it to.
All right. I will be asking Panda, why do you accept me even though I'm a LawJack cadet? And from my understanding, LawJack is sort of the law enforcement within this universe.
Yeah, they're the police, the cops.
Yeah, my dad. My dad's a cop. It's no good.
Because you gave me your dad's password one time, which really let me go have some fun in the LawJack systems.
That's
Nice.
great.
That won't come back to bite you ever.
Yep.
All right, Vorrt.
It's Jace123.
That's the
Sometimes
same
with
as
an
my luggage.
exclamation at the end.
Alright, hang on, gotta look at the character name again really quick. We'll just go with Morgan. Which, what did you help me steal, and why? Why did you help me steal it?
I helped you steal the cyber kit that you have now because you had some sort of hacked together, homemade, wired up piece of direct before, and you've been eyeballing this really, really nice one that was in the mall, and you knew you couldn't afford it, and I knew you really wanted it. So, the next day, you found it wrapped up as a present for you, and you know I stole it. You know there's no way I bought it. Later on, there was all this hubbub about a theft of this expensive cyber kit, and apparently I also made a bit of a mess of the place to cover it up, so it wasn't just that. Like all sorts of stuff was stolen or messed up at this electronics store, and it just made a wreck of the place. And they never knew who who busted it up, except you know who.
Quite the "which was here" graffiti. Nobody knows. Yeah. All right. So that's an example of our friendship questions. We've done some world building between our group, establishing our group knows each other headed into what's to come. We've got scars and we've got stolen birthday presents and we've got um magic powers floating around. So that's the background of our team. Now on the other side of the court, we have the authority. They're representing the bad guys here in Neo Babylon. They're the antagonists, and they're going to be putting pressure on the we call them youthful offenders. From now on, I'm going to call them YOs or YOs, and basically just being really mean. Yo! So to be explicitly clear, we're not going to try to oppress anybody player wise, but the goal of the authority is to really really put the screws into the youthful offenders, right? The consequences for not winning a scene or for losing something are sort of harsh, right? Like it should feel like, ouch, I didn't like that. Because it's going to be very tempting for you to do whatever you can sometimes to not let the authority win. Because when the authority wins, they take it to an extreme, right? They take it too far. They always do. So expect that. We're not going to be gross. We're not going to do anything, anything that you wouldn't see in a PG-13 movie, but we might reference it. It hath happened or something like that, right? And we're not going to get into any sexual violence. That's sort of one of the things that we said before we're not going to do. So, having said that, this is what the authority is like. Kingu Corp is the worldwide corporation that makes everything from military hardware to consumer goods, also known for its popular social media platform, MetaBook. No relation. Kingu Corp. Kingu Corp has recently established itself within your neighborhood and has replaced the local government and the local envoys, that is, the representatives, with its own people. In addition to building new factories and hiring locals as employees, they bought out and replaced all the local small businesses. Now, everyone with a job in your town works for Kingu Corp. They even tore down and replaced the old high school with a shiny new building. Most people in the town seem optimistic about it. Steady employment, nice phones, employee discounts. They're all the siren songs that prevent them from seeing how Kingu Corp is actually drowning them all. Never mind the people who don't do well under Kingu Corp's authority. Try not to think about that. There's nothing anyone can do about it anyway, right? Don't let Kingu Corp envoys or representatives hear your criticism, or you might be the next person to get demonetized. The authorities have a couple of things that make them particular. Each authority in Misspent Youth has 4 different calling cards, as it were. They have a vice, a victim, a visage, and a need. The vice of Kingu Corp is greed. The corp is driven by an insatiable hunger that it can't deny. Money, power, and influence over the daily lives and politics of its employees are what they are after. Their victim is people. Kingu Corp uses people up, crushes their dreams, and appropriates all of their potential to feed its profit margins with no care at all for those who pay the true cost. Their visage is corporate. They're big business, massive corporation with incredible economic power that they leverage into considerable political power. No value is considered higher or more important than that which generates profits for shareholders and high level execs. And their need is that they need an endless source of inexpensive, indebted, indoctrinated, and compliant labor, like your parents. So, the systems of control, right? These are the things that they have put effort into building that they will use against you if you get out of line. They have MetaBook, right? The most popular social media platform that everybody uses. It lets them gauge public opinion directly. It lets them shape the news to their preference, deliver targeted misinformation, and basically tell people what to believe. People never really log off once they log on, and people who criticize the platform or Kingu Corp are stigmatized as old-fashioned and irrelevant. If that's not enough, they could do what's called demonetization, as we mentioned before. And that's a deterrent and a punishment. They demonetize people by excluding them from access to employment or money. They've established a near monopoly and control of local government agencies. So if you aren't working for Kingu Corp, you have no way of making a living. And there's a new high school. They tore down the old decrepit high school and have replaced it with a new shiny campus. Most of the adults are thrilled with it. Kingu Corp is thrilled to have a majority stake in the mandatory education of every young mind. And finally, community consequences for individual actions. When you get in trouble with Kingu Corp, you can be demonetized, but it doesn't stop there. Kingu wants friends and family members to be highly motivated to pressure each other to adhere to the corporate culture. When one person is punished, other secondary punishments are issued to everyone connected with that person. So imagine all of your friends lists, right, on social media. If you get in trouble, they all get punished to some degree as well. So this leads to people defriending you and not wanting to be around you whenever you step out of line. They're the harshest to the offender. Immediate family members might be docked pay, demoted, or even demonetized as a consequence for another person's behavior. If you're MetaBook friends, you lose meta points, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into the authority figures other than just to list that the principal, your parents, Lawjack captain, and community elder collaborators are all part of the bad guys that they can throw at you, the individual bad guys. But you do have a couple of things in your favor. You have what right now you have one of 3 exploits, and I think this is a good time to allow the chat to get in on this. I'm going to describe 3 different exploits, and chat, you are going to tell us which one of these that the youthful offenders have access to, and that will come up in further scenes. So the first exploit, or the sort of way you guys can punch up or ally, is the Anti-Corp Gang. Before Kingu Corp bought the neighborhood, there were a few small gangs. They were considered a general public nuisance. There was a brutal crackdown, but the ones that survived formed a new gang and only recruit people who don't work for Kingu Corp or have been demonetized. In addition to the illicit goods you expect them to sell, they've managed to establish a secondary market for basic staples like food, medicine, and toilet paper. They don't accept money, only trade and barter in favors. Instead of using it as an opportunity to profiteer, the gang has made it into the community resource. If you're doing well for yourself, you can expect to pay high prices, but little is asked of the destitute. They're a little bit of a folk hero status now, and they're no friends of Kingu Corp. The second exploit possibility is the Breacher Collective. Tech is designed to work for the corporations, but it can also be hacked or breached. The neighborhood has an underground community of breachers who share secret software and secrets or hardware, and they with each other as they seek to get better at hacking the world. It's easy to get into breaching if you know who to ask, and you know who to ask. And then finally, another option is the Lawjack Traders. Lawjacks are a corrupt organization, subverted from their duty to protect and serve the people by even more corrupt authorities. They perpetrate injustice on behalf of the wealthy and powerful, but some people are drawn to the ideals that Lawjacks are meant to live up to. When most of them became Lawjacks, they ended up as corrupt as the rest of them, but some few are still trying to make it work. They do their best to restore the honor that the police never quite managed to earn. They're still complicit, but they're trying to make things better. In constant fear of their superiors and coworkers, they're also determined to find a way to work against them. But even the slightest signs of being a traitor to the Lawjacks is often a death sentence. Bad things happen to cops on the job, especially if the captain decides to make it so. So, chat, you tell us, do you want us to have the Anti-Corp Gang as an exploit, the Breacher Collective as an exploit, or Lawjack Traders as an exploit? And as we wait, we'll sort of tally the different votes. In the meantime, you can head to remalternis.com/misspent youth to go to our Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line Kickstarter, which is live right now. And for seriously cheap amount of money, you can get access to the most loving, rebellious RPG you will ever play. I think I can guarantee that. I'm pretty sure I could guarantee that. Yeah. All right. What do we have going on here? Let's see. We have 1 vote for the gangs. We have 2 votes for the gang. We have 3 votes for the gang. Oh, Sarah's tallying them up already. The gang got 3. And I see the Logic's got 2. And I don't see any for the. Okay. So we'll go with the Anti-Corp Gang. Chat, while we're doing this, you have plenty of time. And I'm going to let Sarah choose the name. Suggest names for this Anti-Corp Gang. You get to name it whatever you want, chat. And then Sarah will tell me what the name is when that comes up. All right. This is going to hop into our first episode. So, Misspent Youth can be played as a one-shot, but it works best as a full series. The whole series is made up of about 8 sessions called an episode. We're just going to do 1 episode tonight, and every episode has 5 scenes, no more, no less. The theme of the first scene is What's Up? Its purpose is to get the players into the story and get you started with your own conflict with the authority. I'm going to read this. Actually, before we do that, it's our friendship question time. So we are going to choose one person, and you are going to ask another friendship question of somebody. We'll start with Vorrt. Why don't you start first with the friendship question? Pick a youthful offender, pick a YO, and ask a friendship question before we get started.
Char, why did you ask me for help when you didn't know who else to turn to?
I hate to say that you were there, but to be perfectly honest, you were there. I've come to you before in the past, and it's worked out. Maybe not always in my favor, but it's worked out. And well, you have it.
All right, here we go. Cliff, you can tell me, are we supposed to ask, is everybody asking one friendship question, or is it just one per scene?
Before the very, very first scene, everyone asks one like you did before. Then after that, it's just one per scene.
Okay, cool. I did it right. Love when I do it. All right. Today is the first day of school in the fancy new school built by Kingu Corp. So far, it seems pretty cool. Like digging the lack of trash and the lack of graffiti and the nice turlets that don't have any stains on them yet, right? But now it's time for lunch. The school cafeteria resembles a shopping mall food court. And every Kingu Corp fast food subsidiary is represented, including what was that? What was that one? Hot sandwich.
Big sandwich.
Big sandwich.
Big hot sandwich is one of the sandwiches offerings, but Big Sandwich is the name of the place.
Big Sandwich is by far the most popular. Anyway, this is awesome. You are hanging out together in the lunchroom on the first day of school in the fancy new Kingu Corp High School. You're all sitting at the same table. It's exciting to have your favorite fast food available in the school cafeteria, along with your own soda dispensers. And I'm sure some of you are mixing them all up because you're monsters.
Suicides.
Yes.
It's one of those spontaneously erupting cultural touch points that everybody knows, but nobody knows. Well, how on earth did that possibly become a thing before the internet? Anyway, we all call it that. Sitting at the table together, our YOs are prepared to eat your lunches. Tell me, YOs, what are each of you having?
I'm having a soy ramen bowl with a side of wasabi soy crunchies.
Soy ramen with soy wasabi crunchies.
Like the spice, man.
Nice. And this has nothing. This is just fun free play. Feel free to say whatever you want, or do whatever you want, or talk to whoever you want.
I think a witch sits down at the table and has this foil wrapped package. It's from the burrito stand, and instead of unwrapping it, she just opens up her mouth wide and takes a big old bite from it, like about a third of the burrito in one bite, and like crunches it for a little bit and swallows it down, foil wrapping and all.
Don't eat the foil, witch. That's so wrong.
The phrase tinfoil hat, my friend. You're not. It's on your head, not in.
Just gives you a grin, and you can see she's got really long canines, like pointed ones, like fangs that sort of stick out for a moment and then retract and look like normal teeth a moment later. And then she takes another bite.
I'm gonna go back to my sushi, which I've decided the tuna is not seared enough. So I kind of pointed it, mutter an incantation under my breath, and slowly sear it with a flame that appears off the top of my finger.
Who sears tuna on sushi? What the?
That earns an appreciative eyebrow raise from Witch.
Jace ogles the flame finger and whispers, "I knew it," to himself. He is eating a big old burger with like too many ingredients to really fit in his mouth, but he's trying. And he ordered 2 helpings of French fries, and he's placed the second one in the middle of the table to be the community French fry bowl.
Appreciate the community French fry bowl, and I make use of that.
Most of the other kids around you seem to be enjoying their favorite fast food items as well. But you notice that there are a few that can't quite afford to eat here. Several students have been pointing and snickering at a couple of kids. There's a cafeteria attendant that points out the sign and then declares outside food and beverages are prohibited. And you can tell that these certain kids had brought outside food. The kids seem to be, these are 12, 13-year-old kids, seem to be on the verge of crying, and they don't know whether to go eat their food somewhere else or to throw it in the garbage so that they can enter the lunchroom. This fancy new school seems to have some corporate drawbacks. A few more students have arrived with their sack lunches, and the cafeteria attendant points out the sign on the wall to them as well. So looking around the cafeteria, you see that some students are a little uncomfortable about this and have paused their eating, while others are clearly enjoying seeing the poor kids get humiliated in front of everyone. This doesn't seem right to you. Now, every scene has the potential or the actuality of a struggle. This is where you see something happening or something gets forced on you, and one of you starts some crap. Right? Whether it's something that you have to deal with, or whether it's something that you just see and you want to do something about it, one of you is going to say, "I've had enough of that. I'm going to stand up." Right? And this is where you decide which of your convictions that you're going to use to do something about the injustice or the attack that you just witnessed. So you've seen some injustice happening. Are you going to let it slide, or is one of you going to stand up?
Stand up.
All right. Panda's going to stand up. When you stand up, then you are going to roll 2d6. And then we are going to mark that on our sheet up there.
I think you're skipping some stuff.
Am I skipping some steps?
Yeah.
What am I skipping? let's see. Oh yeah, I
A bunch of stuff.
I did blow right past it. All right,
Special
you're gonna
rules, the you claiming a number, putting out the
okay.
struggle sheet, etc.
Let me not skip stuff, and I'll just read it instead. So when the struggle begins, the struggle sheet becomes important. That's the number, the sheet with the big 7 going all the way down to 12. Then the authority, when the struggle starts, the authority would say what they want to have happen. That's their objective. So in this case, the authority wants most of the students accept the situation as normal and allow the kids who brought their own lunches to be turned away and ostracized. So that's what I'm hoping happens as the authority. As you can tell, it's pretty crappy. Um, and then the YOs are going to declare their hope, what they want to happen instead. You don't just basically choose what the opposite of the authority was, because if they lose, they won't get that anyway. So you want to choose something that's sort of different, something that you want to accomplish, that isn't what they want to accomplish. And this is something that you guys can choose on your own. So discuss, now that the struggle has started, discuss amongst yourselves what you want the objective to be of this struggle.
Just gonna make sure that all those kids have money to pay for this, whether they actually have the money to pay for this or not.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Nobody should go hungry, not when there are options.
No.
All right.
Anybody-
So is that what you're deciding, or do you have some other options?
Anybody got another idea, or should
We
No.
could pose some kind of distraction to get them in. If the
yeah, but then they might just get thrown out because they have the food. It sucks that they're gonna waste the food, but at least I can make sure that they've got a hot meal ready to go, that they can just go buy whatever they want.
fair enough.
Could wreck the cafeteria badly enough that everyone has to bring their own lunches from now on.
Ooh.
That's an interesting idea.
That's
All
not
right.
what you're supposed to say.
But you have to decide, which one is it? You can only have one.
We
think
go
we
for
should-
full blown chaos right away, or
I can make a full blown chaos happen. I can make that happen.
I feel like the like giving the poor kids enough money could be effective in both that it's not super chaotic right away, but there are a lot of options to find and to relocate money in this situation. So that's what I'm leaning towards.
So restrained chaos, not full blown.
I'm feeling restrained chaos.
Okay. So then
But
I'm
we
gonna
got 4 more scenes.
so then I'm gonna go for making sure everybody's got enough money to
All right, so we're gonna somehow, by the end, if you win, somehow you will have made sure that every kid has enough money to eat. All right. So at the beginning of a struggle, the authority claims claims a number on this chart that is 1 higher than the scene number. So this is scene number 1. So they are going to claim number 2.
all right.
Then it is going to be the YO's turn to stand up. First, let's see. I think that's. Oh, we had a couple of rules in this one. For this struggle in scene 1, there's a couple of special rules that don't necessarily apply to all the scenes in the book. But this one is round robin, which means no YO can stand up a second time and act until everybody has had a chance to act. That makes sure that everybody gets in on the action. And then second, violence is ugly. This means that any YO that stands up using a conviction to inflict harm against a person, the authority will claim 2 numbers next time instead of 1 on their next turn, which makes it basically doubly likely that you will lose going forward. Basically, the authority claims the numbers, describe the terrible consequences of giving them an excuse to escalate their use of force. Brutal bodily harm might be done to the youthful offenders. Bystanders jumping in to help might get maimed. Cops might beat defenseless civilians. things like that. That's how they respond when you use violence on them. This is not like most RPGs where the fight is about winning tactically in a combat scenario. No one has hit points or damage values, and winning doesn't mean killing the bad guys or even beating them up. Killing and beating up is what the bad guys do. So the YOs can resort to violence in the short term, but it's usually going to be quite expensive and have consequences and repercussions. So your goal is to achieve your hope, not to hurt people. Violence plays right into the goals of authoritarianism, giving people with power an excuse to justify their use of force. So it provides an advantage to the authority when you use violence. This only applies to the YOs using violence to harm people, not when they damage property. All right, the kids in their own lunches, the kids with their own lunches seemed embarrassed and sad. The first two start towards the garbage can, ready to throw away their food that they bought from home, as the table with the most popular kids laugh at them and call them pathetic. The authority began the struggle, claiming the number two, and now I think Vorrt, you said you're going to stand up immediately, and you can do something. So roll the dice before you do anything else. Roll 2d6.
All right. Good roll. I like that roll.
A 7. Fantastic.
That's an 11.
Oh, I was still
Oh,
farther
the
away.
7 was my test roll. Sorry, I used up the
Gotcha.
7.
No. Good. So 11. All right. Now pick a conviction and tell us how you are trying to use that conviction to achieve the goal that you want.
I am picking Breacher, and I am using it to send a message out to all of the poor students there, to their communication devices, that lets them know that Kingu Corp has awarded them a $500 meal, we'll use equivalent, $500 meal credit for the lunchroom, and give them each $500 to go buy whatever they want for a while.
All right. They all get this text on their devices, and you can see their eyes light up, right? So they all sort of throw their lunches away like they were asked to do, because now they have plenty of money to pay for things, right? So they approach the lunch counter, and they show the lunch ladies or the lunch fellows, right? Who
Yeah.
all sorts of folks work in the lunch line. The lunch orcs who are working there, and they show them this message, and the lunch orcs just shrug and they say, "Well, there's no money on your card still. I can't award you based on somebody's email." And they will now claim an adjacent number to yours.
Uh-oh.
10. Now, somebody else can stand up if they want to. Try to get what they want done.
All right,
This
which
is-
is going to stand? I will stand up.
Okay.
Roll dice.
Oh no! So Cliff has rolled a 10, which means that they rolled a number that has already been taken by the authority, which means the authority wins this particular struggle. Except in this scenario, this scene, there's a rule called kid gloves. And in this, let's see, kid gloves, I just saw it. The kid gloves special rule is that the first time the YOs fail by rolling a number claimed by the authority, they don't fail. Instead of ending the struggle, they replace the authority's token with the YO's token. When describing how the authority reacts to this, describe some unlucky chance that saves the day. All right, so we're not going to remove the authority's token and replace that with the young offender's token. Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right.
We're both trying to. So, Cliff, do we? Oh yeah, go ahead. You are going to choose your conviction and describe something clumsy that happened on the part of the authority that makes it so that you can get away with what you're doing.
All right, so yeah, I have I'm gonna use outrage. So I'm just gonna like jump right up on the lunch table and take my burrito and throw it down at the ground and just let it splatter all over the table and kick something and make a little bit of a mess and say, "This is ridiculous. They're not going to accept their vouchers. They're going to let the kids go hungry. This is a bunch." And I just let off a blue streak of a whole bunch of swearing, which would probably get me in a lot of trouble in addition to the mess that I'm making. But it's riling up a bunch of other kids, I would hope. And yeah, I'm just going straight to 11 on the outrage and just ah.
Your outrage has the initial effect of stunning the lunch orcs, who now start backing up and they don't want any part of this, right? So some of the poor kids are actually reaching in there, grabbing some big sandwiches, some big hot sandwiches, some fries, some burritos. But it also has the unfortunate side effect of having some of the proctors, some of the people who are in charge of watching over you and making sure you don't do anything exactly like what you just did. So now you have some sort of rent-a-lawjacks that are coming to quell the resistance that you've started. You've caused quite a ruckus, and now in the corner of your ears, I just made that up. That's a thing now. Corner of your ears. You hear the familiar clack, 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 clack of the Lawjack's metal boots coming down the hallway. And you know that when they get here, things are probably going to be bad. And I'm going to claim number 9. Who's going to stand up next?
9.
Sure, I'll give this a go.
Excellent. Roll your dice.
Roll 2d6. 9.
I like to choose
Oh,
my.
Dang it.
Oh no! Now
I am cursed.
this is the time when things would actually end, but that's not the whole story. If you absolutely want to win this and to make sure that you win, um, where am I at? Why can't I find it? There is something that you can do called selling out. If you roll a number that's already claimed by the authority wins. Uh, and the player must choose a conviction and make an even harder choice. You can either take the loss and describe how you tried to use your conviction, but it wasn't enough to win, or you can sell out that conviction and describe how betraying your values, the values that it represents, gets you what you need to win. In this case, your conviction is permanently transformed into its sold out version, into its marred and gross version. You win the struggle, but your friends all look at you like you've stepped in poop with your soul out of the corner of your soul. So you get to decide now, Dapper, what if you're going to lose and just take the loss and everybody and they get what they want and you don't get what you want, or if you are going to sell out, do something really, really awful and get what you want even as you lose a piece of your soul.
So we're early for me to sell out, but at the same time, I want to see how that mechanic works. So yeah, we'll sell out. We'll use my rich conviction. I'll pay them. I'll bribe them off. Pay them off. Bribe.
Oh, that is
Okay.
so perfect.
Yeah. So, okay, great. So the Lawjacks come stomping in, and you meet them at the door, handing out money, saying, "Why don't you just take this somewhere else?" And to your absolute surprise, they say, "No problem," and they take your money and they just keep walking down the hall. And then you can take some of that money and make sure all the kids have enough to eat, as the lunch orcs are now terrified of everybody and they know they don't have any backup. So so you get what you want. All the kids have money to eat. At least they do today.
I made it rain.
Now, if you sell out a conviction, I didn't tell you this, and I kind of feel bad about it, but I'm sure I'll forgive myself later. If you sell out a conviction, that struggle does not count towards the end episode score.
Oh,
Now, that's not a loss, right? It's more like a draw. But it does sort of represent the fact that you prevented the baddest thing from happening, but nobody can really call that a win because everybody saw you bribing lawjacks, and they were
Why
like,
don't
"Ugh."
Why don't you mention what your rich sells out to, and maybe read off what that means?
"Yeah, Dapper, would you mind reading out Rich and then reading out what the sellout version is?"
okay.
And we're going to
Okay,
be keeping
so
score throughout the episode, tracking whether the YOs or the authorities win each struggle, right? So there should be a struggle each scene for 5 scenes. And then the side that wins the most episodes will actually win that episode. Sorry, the most scenes will win that episode. And then you will get a special bonus or take a special loss, depending on who wins more. So go ahead, Dapper.
So I'm assuming you want me to read like what it says for Char's specific instance of Rich here, or
Yeah, read Rich and then
Okay.
read the opposite version. Yeah.
So in this instance, Char comes from old money and has never known poverty. They can buy pretty much whatever they want. Sellout issue here is that they only seem to know how to help by throwing money at the problem.
Okay. And what's the sold out version of that?
Yeah, that's the sellout. Is that they
Oh,
only seem
okay.
to know
The throwing
by
money.
throwing money at the problem.
Gotcha. Okay. So they have become sort of gross in their use of money. All right. Now we are going to, before moving on to the next scene, we're going to do a little post episode thing called reflection. This is where you reflect on what just happened. Do you have access to the reflection questions? I don't know who has those. I'll read them to you if you don't. But each player, except for the authority, will choose a question to ask. This is on page 14 of the playtest doc. So each of you chooses a question and then chooses another player to respond. If somebody asks you to answer a question, you can either answer it or pass it off to another player of your choice. If no one wants to answer the question, that's okay. The story will be improved, though, if everybody participates. No pressure, though. Okay, so let's start with Janatee. Can you pick one of those reflection questions and ask one of your fellow YOs?
Yeah. I'm going to pick number 4. What have you learned about your beliefs and values? And ask that to Dapper or Char.
I've learned that apparently I can be a bit fickle with money. Feeling kind of slimy about it, not gonna lie.
All right. So, Char's feeling slimy. Char, why don't you pick a question and ask something?
Sure.
And I've been told that whenever there's a dip in the conversation, to make it seem
I sensed it.
natural and point people to pretend like it's coming from my heart and tell you to go to remalternis.com/misspent to back our Kickstarter for this lovely and rebellious game. I know Sarah's mad at me now.
Seriously, are you serious?
But if there's one thing that we are, it's authentic. Even authentically lame. Go ahead.
So Cliff,
Lame in the best way, though.
Cliff, my friend, what do you want to do next?
I think what I want to do next is I think I want to maybe lay low a bit. Seeing lawjacks in school like that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I wasn't expecting that level of immediate response, so maybe I want to lay low and not get so much attention on me all at once. Plus, I've got friends who can just throw money at problems.
Gee, thanks.
Ooh.
Don't worry, I'll pay your bail.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next. I will answer the question myself,
Nice.
and that's number 6. What other question are you more interested in knowing? Where did I go
Okay.
wrong? This always works. I can give people money all the time. I've done it before. It's been great. It causes chaos. How did I fail to give these kids money today?
Self-doubt. Love it.
And
And
then I can
go ahead.
answer. Go ahead, Opti.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, who's next?
I can answer what has changed about how you view one of the other youthful offenders. And I will say that I am kind of looking despondently at Char, being like, hey, like, why did you do that? Now you're basically just as bad as them. And just like, you're not the person I thought you were.
My
In
heart.
My friend sold out.
for the rest of the lunch, you Char, you have people coming up to you, the kids coming up to you and saying, "Thank you, that was awesome. We appreciate that. You rule." Uh, some of the more rich kids do not. You get a couple of weird looks from them, but honestly, who cares, right? Um, but then there's something that you notice over the course of the next few days, and that is everybody seems to look the other way when you have to keep paying for these kids because the Lodjacks now are expecting your money and they're expecting the compliance of all the kids, and your money is the only thing that's allowing that to happen. So you're basically having to stand around, and you tried stopping, and the poor kids ended up paying for it because they got even more ostracized and they weren't even let into the lunchroom. So things are not better, but at least they're not getting worse for now as long as you keep playing ball. So some time has passed, and things have just been getting worse. Let's start with a friendship question. Let's see. Vorrt, did you ask the last friendship question? You started with the last scene in the
I
friendship
think
question?
yeah, I've gotten to pretty rapid fire, so put me last this time.
Okay, so Janatee, I'm going to go clockwise for the friendship questions at the beginning of the scene. Janatee, why don't you pick one of the other YOs and ask them one of your friendship questions?
For sure. I'm going to ask what school project or test did I help you cheat?
Hmm. It was an art project. I was supposed to make this pottery thing, and I just, no matter what I tried, it kept collapsing. And I was, unlike most school stuff, where like, whatever, I don't care, I'll take the bad grade. Like, I actually cared about this, and I got really upset. It was despondent. Like, basically, like, you didn't even let me know, but you like swapped out like my last piece that like blew out in the kiln that I was finally got and I was proud about. You replaced that with something you had made, and I got a good grade for it. And I think I made this thing that like I have back at home in my room. It's just like a jar thing that I keep flowers in or something. But uh yeah, I suck at pottery.
That's great. So I managed to make it look enough like the one that blew up so that you didn't notice.
Right.
All right. In the time after the event, the lunchroom event of 450 Neo-Babylonian Reckoning, things have not been going great in school, and you've all landed in big trouble. You've all been summoned to the principal's office, and you're waiting to find out what sort of punishment you're going to receive. Why don't you talk amongst yourselves about what you did to get you all in trouble together?
Because I didn't bribe the principal, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of got to tip the boss as well as the troops.
Rookie mistake.
Whole bribing thing is getting out of control. How are you gonna? You really have that much money? You got so much money. Why are you holding out on us so much?
that again, slimy. You want me to just start handing out fat stacks of cash?
I don't know.
No, I
Like
didn't
maybe
want you to hand out any in the first place.
you could buy me a motorcycle or something.
I was just trying to force through some faulty, some fake gift cards to let these kids have lunch. Just have Kingu get noticed, like, oh yeah, I guess we gave out $500 gift cards. Group of students. Not like they can't afford it.
Seriously.
Do you think we're really here because the principal's wants to get a cut or something, or is just upset with you for bribing the lawjacks?
I mean, if things go south, you can just stand on the table and howl like a monkey again.
I'm very sure we're here because the principal has pressure from above. In fact, I pull up on people's data pads or whatever. Just look at these posts here that have happened on. That's the principal's in hot water. There's some people from Kingu who are not happy.
As you are thinking about how your YOs are feeling and talking about what you did, think about if your YO is angry or defiant or afraid. Are you just resignated to accepting your punishment? What are your parents going to say about this? You're probably all a little freaked out, but that's when the principal walks in and says to each one of you, please come with me. Right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sort of structure this in as if it was an episode of TV, right? Where you're all sort of talking to the principal one-on-one at different times. We're gonna bounce back and forth like it was some sort of interrogation, we're switching back and forth. Who wants to go first?
Doing a prisoner's dilemma on us, Opti? Come on.
So this is scene number 2. So the authority is going to claim the number 3 first, and what they want to have happen is to sow distrust among the YOs and cause them to be shunned by other students at the school for fear of reprisal. So the principal wants you guys to stop trusting each other and to be shunned by everyone else at the school. You choose one of these hopes. You want to be seen by heroes, as most of the kids in school. You want to trick the principal into believing that you intend to behave better to receive lesser punishment, or you want to humiliate the principal or Kingu Corp in some way.
Let's humiliate the principal.
Yeah, I'm here for that kind of chaos.
Yeah,
I didn't even write the first 2.
Right. Every single time they're like, oh, that one. All right. So you want to humiliate the principal or Kingu Corp. The special rules for this struggle, round robin. So we're all going to go in a well, not in a circle necessarily, but we're all going to go before anybody else gets to go. Violence is ugly is still in effect. We're adding a resistance token into this struggle. This is a special token that will be either gained by the YOs or the authority at the end of this struggle. It represents the extra motivation caused by the desperation of losing and the willingness or ability to push back harder. So whichever side loses this struggle gains the resistance token, which can be used in future struggles. So if you lose this one, whoever loses, they feel energized to really stick it to their enemies next time. So the principal is imposing and intimidating, and he begins by speaking softly to you to put you at ease. Please, come in, have a seat. It seems that we have some matters of discipline to discuss. The principal himself does not sit, and he looks down on you. Let's ask, what's the principal's name? What do you think this dude is called?
It feels like a
Principal Skinner.
Yes.
All right.
The only answer.
The low-hanging fruit of Principal Skinner.
Low-hanging fruit is still tasty fruit.
Indeed.
No, I do have to say, chat suggests Richard Cheese.
No, Chris, we're not doing Richard Cheese. He's a fabulous parody singer with Lounge Against the... You don't want to be...
I think Vorrt protests too much. I think maybe Richard Cheese is the ticket. Or we could mix them like we did last time and have Richard Skinner Cheese.
Yeah. No,
Skinner
no.
cheese.
All right.
This doesn't sound right.
They're not right. They're principles and authorities. So principal Skinner Cheese.
Stinks.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, this is special Babylonian cheese that just smells. He starts off by telling you have such incredible potential, but it seems that you've fallen in with the wrong crowd. These friends of yours are leading you down the wrong path. Perhaps we need to take pains to separate you. Now you can stand up. We'll go again round robin. So who wants to stand up first?
Sorry, I just got pained by Ava's comment in chat.
We're not going to repeat that
No,
because this is going at the top of the Kickstarter page, so we can't talk. We can't even mention what that comment was, but it's hilarious, and we'll move on.
I can stand up first.
Okay, go ahead and roll your dice.
Gladly.
All
That
right.
is an 8.
8. Pick a conviction and tell us what you're gonna tell the principal or do to the principal. How are you gonna wield it?
So if our goal is to humiliate the principal, and I know that I'm going in first and my friends are going in after me, I'm going to try and think of something very public. And I'm going to glance over to the corner of the office where the little announcement microphone is. And I'm going to use my, I think Yojin is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Training. There is a little rock, like a knickknack rock. And as I walk in, I'm gonna try and do a stretch and then do a full body thing to move the rock, and the rock falls, and now the mic is set to on. So if he does something embarrassing or has a breakdown, the whole school will hear it as I awkwardly after doing that awkwardly stutter oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, but I keep an eye on that little red light in the corner.
Who's gonna stand up next?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So hold on one sec. I'll the principal, Richard Cheese.
Thanks, Ava.
Confronts you and says, I can't believe what I'm hearing, but it seems your friend has sold you out. They are willing to take a lesser punishment so that you're going to take the fall, because I've heard it's all your fault anyway. And I will claim number 9. What are you going to use or actually just roll the dice and see what happens?
So who's going next? Dapper?
Yeah.
Yep. Roll them dice.
Seems like an appropriately awkward amount of time, so I am contractually obligated to point you to remalternis.com/misspent to back our Kickstarter for this lovingly rebellious. And
Dapper
that's
Fat Cat.
6.
Here for all your awkward pause needs.
All right, Dapper, tell us which conviction that you're using to confront Dick Cheese.
Also, I should note,
Richard
should note,
Cheese.
one thing about, since we have a sold out conviction, we should point out the rule that if you do stand up using a sold out conviction, you can do that, but it means the authority gets to choose double numbers on their turn if you do.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you can still use your conviction that you sold out, but the authority takes umbrage and will punch back doubly hard when you.
I choose to go in with pride.
Okay.
So I noticed the little the flickering, the light of the intercom system. I go in, I sit down, I put my feet up on his desk, and I remain silent. I stonewall him.
So the principal continues talking, and you can tell that he's getting red in the face. He does not like this silent treatment and begins to raise his voice. Don't you have anything to say? I'm going to talk to your parents about this. And I'm talking demonetization, and I'm talking about loss of metabook privileges. And it's getting pretty intense in there. So I'm going to claim number 5. If I'm allowed to choose whatever adjacent, right? Or is there a
Yeah,
particular?
you can choose whatever adjacent. It has to be the closest adjacent, and if there's 2 options, you get to pick which one.
Choose. Okay, great. Perfect. Who's standing up next?
Yeah,
I'll
which?
send.
Go ahead.
Which wants to go ahead? Which
I
can
think
go
you
ahead?
beat me to it. I think you beat me to it.
All right, Vorrt, go
All right.
ahead. So as you come in, Richard Skin Cheese is pretty heated in the face already. You could tell that whatever happened with your friend has visibly flustered him. And he seems probably ready to verbally tear your head off. No longer speaking softly, no longer trying to coddle you. He is ready to give you the business, and he starts off by talking about your parents being demonetized. How are you going to stand up? Roll those dice.
Here's the roll. Take it.
Ooh.
Boxcars is always good.
12. All right, pick a conviction and tell us how you're using it.
I'm going to be using my boundless curiosity, my ability to find and uncover secrets of stuff I shouldn't know about. And I am going to address Principal Cheese. Like, Principal Cheese, I really think you should take a look at what's on your computer screen at this moment. And what they're going to find is them in some very, very compromising pictures involving a dominatrix and a leather gimp.
Wow. And this is
This is
Principal
all
Cheese.
legitimate. Yeah, this is all Principal Cheese in the suit.
So Principal Cheese with his skinny Richard hanging out in this suit is with a yeah.
You're going.
That might be an appropriate time to point you to Rem Alternis.com.
I just look
for
at
all of your kinky rebellion needs. The principal does not like this tack that you've taken.
And I just look at him like,
come on!
I mean, if you want to talk about discipline, I will gladly show the parents and student body here the discipline that you envision.
Now,
So,
at this point,
I have to. You're going to show the student body his body?
At this point, he is incredibly silent. He makes no incriminating noises. He just brims with anger and begins balling his fist, and he pushes a button and he says,
I have the biggest shit eating grin on my face.
Captain Reginald, would you come in, please? And then we'll cut there to our final youthful offender. And you can tell that whatever just happened with, was it Char? Were you playing Char? No, you were playing.
I'm playing Panda.
Panda. Whatever just happened with Panda has gone incredibly wrong for everyone. The principal's office is in disarray. There's a lawjack captain there, and you can just tell that the sweat that's on the seat was produced probably not because Panda was I don't know. It's bad sweat, is what I'm trying to get at.
I have
There is
epitome of the,
anxiety-ridden sweat all over the faded
not from
latex
Panda.
chair.
Panda is very confident in what they did. They may not be right, but they are very confident in what they did.
So go ahead and roll the dice and see.
Oh, you
see
want me
what
to roll?
happens.
No, which rolls?
No, not you. We're on to the next
Yeah,
You haven't
bio.
claimed a number yet.
Yeah, I think it's. Wait, Vorrt? Yeah, you claimed 12.
Yeah, but you,
Yeah.
Opti.
Oh, right. My bad. We're gonna claim 11. 11. This is a full board, folks. We're getting really close. So I think is it Cliff?
Yeah, with the round robin rule, I'm the only person who
Yeah.
can stand up, and I think it's Witch's turn.
All right,
let's roll the dice.
Witch. How do you respond when you sit in the damp chair and are faced not only with Principal Cheese, but also Lawjack, Captain. What did I say? I just said their name. Reginald.
Well, I rolled a 6, which was already rolled by another youthful offender, so that is a winning result.
So
who rolled a 6 before?
it was Dapper.
Yeah.
And what conviction had you used? Pride? So I win based on your pride and also a conviction that I stand up with. Sorry, Opti, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just say this is where if you land on the same number that your friend or another youthful offender rolled, you would take their conviction and your conviction and sort of, create a narrative of how they both sort of ended up eventually getting what you wanted out of this, which is the humiliation of either Kengu or the principal.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and use bad and rule breaking badass. So at first I come in here and I look around, which looks around and sees the logic captain, and she's like, oh, she's like scared rabbit for just a second, and then sees the principal, who actually looks all disheveled and kind of like obviously distraught from what's been going on, and then just sort of smile and say, what? You brought a lawjack captain in to interrogate a high school student? What, because I threw my burrito on the ground? This is ridiculous. You are such a filthy puddle of a coward. How did anybody put someone like you in charge of a principal? You get nothing out of me. Nothing, you hear me? I didn't do nothing but drop my stuff on the floor. Not like anything else around here, like you lording it around. You just pathetic mewling piece of nothing. You do your worst. Come on. You would have beat me up with a cop? Go ahead. Beat up the 15-year-old girl, you scared little turd. And since this is all over the comms, that's I just lead into being bad and feeling proud of it, and just go into a tirade that probably goes viral on Metabook before Kingu Corp manages to shut it down.
So it does go viral on book. The entire school is privy because the comm was on, and the entire school witnessed the increasing loss of loss of cool, loss of control, like loss of everything of the principal. And the lawjack begins to raise his voice, and so there's what you wanted to have happen happens exactly. The principal has paid time off as they investigate the situation. The lawjack, who was supposed to be keeping things under control, is also embarrassed because they were basically intimidating children. And yes, it does go viral on Metabook, but it is also taken down from Metabook very quickly, and you are also all of you demonetized on Facebook, not on Metabook. Not that you had a lot of money making opportunities, It's a basically symbolic thing, but also you are sort of soft blocked and you can't take any actions on Metabook except for looking and watching. And finally, you are given a 1 week suspension from school.
Am I allowed to add a little icing to the cake?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to send a leather care kit to the principal.
The principal is also on leave, so you send it to their house or to the school office.
To the house.
Yeah,
Panda would know this.
you don't know how that ends, but you can imagine that it is not well received. So for this time, instead of the normal reflection questions after the scene, we are going to ask a question. This is the question, the big question, the episode question. This is what we want to have answered by the end of the episode. It's basically a source of inspiration for coming up with ideas that lead us, ultimately to where this is all headed at the end. Basically, the episode question is what you want to happen, like on a large scale, or a question that you want answered on a large scale, and now everything sort of, all the episodes left sort of bend towards answering that question in some way, shape, or form. So what sort of episode question might we ask to see if we can't figure out how the rest of this episode's going to go, given the two scenes that we've had already? What do you think the big climax is going to be? What question's going to be answered by the end?
I'm thinking the question, like, how can we take back the school? If I'm understanding it correctly, might be a good candidate.
Yeah.
I had a similar issue, like how do we drive them out?
Panda was going for a little more of a narrow focus.
Mm-hmm.
How do we drive them out of the cafeteria? As in, how do we stop them? Because whether they want to make money off us buying lunches, they let the kids who can't afford that to just bring the lunchroom should be the neutral ground.
I think in the case of framing the question, it would be more in the context of will this particular thing happen, or which way will this particular thing go, rather than how will we do this. It will be
Okay.
will this happen or will we do this? I don't put the details in there for how you come up with those because I just provided an example one in the playtest text, but
So
I'd like
maybe a question that fits that better, Cliff, would be something along the lines of, will the cafeteria return to neutral ground or something?
What do you guys think? You want to keep it narrow, or basically
Yeah,
all about feeding in the cafeteria?
I think keeping it narrow is better, just because it keeps a school around, because the old one's gone and one's
I think we could widen the scope to take the idea a little bit bigger, more like will Kingu Corp be able to decide who gets to eat
I like
around
that.
here?
I like that.
That's well put. I think I like
Yeah.
that one.
All right, so we're going to go with the ultimate question at the end of the night. We'll have this answered. Will Kingu Corp continue to be able to decide who eats and who doesn't? That sound good?
Sounds good.
42 still doesn't fit that.
What's that?
That's what you think. I said 42 still doesn't fit that.
Gotcha.
The episode question, not the question to life, the universe, and everything.
My bad.
And that seems like a good place to take a small break. Sarah, I'm hollering at you because I think that's what you said to do. And so we will take a break as soon as Sarah says you're on break. And right now I'm just going to give jazz hands
Can we
until
do
we go on
10?
break. We're back. This episode sponsored by remalternis.com/misspent-youth, where you can back our Kickstarter and make us all thousandaires. Not true. Make us all hundred. Nope. Still not true. Where you can help us make the book.
and the letter K.
Right? And the letter rebellion. So right now we have our youthful offenders, and they've decided that the ultimate question that the end of tonight will answer is, will Kingu Corp be allowed to continue to decide who gets to eat lunch and who does not? Who gets to eat and who does not? So we're going to start in scene 3 now. And I think Janatee did the last friendship question to start off scene 2. So Dapper, please choose one of your friendship questions. Choose one of your fellow youthful offenders and ask a question to start building some backstory.
Panda, my friend, why do you believe in me?
That was to me.
Hmm?
While Panda's thinking of an answer, I want to prompt everyone to visit remalternis.com/misspent-youth for all of your kickstarting misspent youth fall in love not in line needs.
I think it's also worth mentioning that even if you're not really interested in getting a copy of a hard copy of the book yourself, because maybe you just want the PDF, we have a community copy option now, so you can sponsor for someone else to get a book.
For every PDF that somebody buys, you keep thinking, Vorrt. You keep thinking. For every PDF that somebody buys, whether it's an add-on or not, we will give a PDF away, and then you can add another PDF free copy to give away as well. And then there's also, as Cliff mentioned, if you want to buy hard copies for other people to give away, like one of the things that we want to do is give away to public schools and libraries. I think it'd be pretty awesome if we made the banned list somewhere. Public schools and libraries and other marginalized folks who might not be able to, but they might not have money to spend on RPGs. We want this to still be something that they can read and enjoy. So there is options for you to buy physical copies for us to give away to schools and libraries and folks. And for every PDF you buy, whether it's an add-on or not, we will give away a PDF. And if you just want to keep sharing the love, there is an option to buy more PDFs for us to give away. So thank you, Cliff. That's awesome.
Panda believes in Char. I believe in Char. Because Char believes in himself. They don't doubt what they're doing. They just go forth. Whether it's buying people lunch, whether it's singing at the top of their lungs to their favorite song, not caring about who's around. Char oozes confidence, and confidence makes other people confident.
Excellent. So in this scene, things have been a little bit rough for you. Your ultimate goal or your ultimate question is to find out whether or not Kingu Corp is going to continue to run the school lunch program. Well, one of you has been paying off the lawjacks to make that happen, but you're suspended for a week. So things have been a little bit rough. You can't actually get to affect what's going on. So you've spent some time away, and you've been spending time with a particular group. You've been spending time with the Anti-Corp Gang called the Faceless. And the Faceless Gang has been giving you a safe place to meet, that you can sort of avoid the eyes of Kingu Corp. And they've also been willing to give you any assistance for any rough business that you might come up with. They've sort of taken you maybe as as some sort of mascots, right?
Aw.
So in this scene, in the previous 2 scenes, the GM has been setting the scene for you, telling you sort of what's going on. In this scene, I'm going to back off, and just with what we've talked about so far, with the exploit of the anti-gang corp that you have, and what's gone before, you are going to tell me what's happening. You are going to describe what's been going on. Where are you at? What are you doing? And that can be all of you at once deciding that, or it can be just one of you, taking it and running with it. But yeah, let's Cliff, do you think do you just choose one person, or do you let the group just go for it?
It's up to the youthful offenders to set the scene.
All right,
And
youthful
this is
offenders.
essentially where the intro stuff takes the back seat and puts it in the hands of the youthful offenders for the first time.
All right, there you go.
We need inspiration. Think about how some of the previous ones has started. Maybe think about the episode question, as well as the exploit that's supposed to be introduced and used in this scene, or maybe something about the friendship question, or any of those elements. But yeah, it's up to us to decide where we are and what we're doing.
I have an idea for yeah, okay. So Panda is curious. Panda just they can't stand not knowing answers. So I want to find out why. Like there, I feel Panda feels like there is more to the surface here than just Kingu being "I'm a corp, do what I say" kind of thing. And I want to find out if there is more to it. So I would ask Face if they can get me into a Kingu Corp like Metabook server location, like get me to one where I could hack in and dig in a little bit. Because if they're influencing people's decisions through Metabook, I want to see why they're fighting so.
I'm gonna find a Metabook server and break in and presumably hack in and find what you can find.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are we in the process of doing this, or is the scene where we're trying to convince the gang, we're deciding what we're doing or planning it out?
Cliff is asking you all.
Yep.
Me.
Yep. Yep.
As a fellow player, like, how do we want to do this?
I
I
want
think
to
planning it out is fun.
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to plan it out. I want to pitch it.
that works. We could pitch it and plan it out, and then the struggle can be when we actually do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
To go with one of my favorite movies of all time, but just imagine the scene where all the hackers, middle part of hackers, are trying to get all the corpse information from hacking the Gibson.
So I feel like if Panda proposes the question, then Goldenboy and Jace would respond by being like, "I'm pretty sure I can do that. I think that one of the guys that came to my dad's birthday party last year actually runs the Logics who work at the Metabook servers. He was like really excited about it. He was bragging all about it.
Don't they usually have guards at those places?
Well,
people.
I mean, my dad knows the guards, then we can find out where they're coming from and get more information."
We'll need to know their patrol patterns. Maybe we can sneak past them like in the movies.
Well, my dad doesn't know I'm suspended. He thinks I'm still going to school. So if I ask, he can probably let me shadow one of them.
Oh, wow. I can't believe your dad didn't notice you got suspended. I mean, my parents, they haven't even noticed, my foster parents. But your dad, he's always up in your business. How are you keeping that? Like, how are you
I
keeping
just
that a
go to
secret?
extra trainings at the academy, and he doesn't really give me a second look.
I got a plan.
What is it, Char?
And I turn invisible.
Whoa!
I am freaking out. Like,
They were there and they were gone.
I guess Witch sort of pops out some metal claws from the ends of her fingertips and reaches forward to where Char would be if Char didn't disappear, because I'm curious to see if Char is actually there or not. What happens when she does that?
Bat your hand away. Stop it. You're gonna do the thing that you did to my face again.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry. I thought you teleported.
Hey guys, heads up, there's a little bit of lightning going on outside, so if I drop, that would be why. I should be
And-
good,
Thank you.
but
And then Witch drops. Plus, it's not like I did that on purpose.
oh wait, you can't see me. And I become uninvisible to dramatically point out the scar on my face.
I still think it looks cool.
I don't think it looks like anything right now. How do you do that? Can you do it? How many people?
I think I can at least manage another. I think.
Oh, try me, try me.
Apparently, we are going to play around and see how many people I can make invisible.
You are aware that there's some faceless gangers who are looking on, going like, "Ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah, the new kid.
We could totally use that."
Oh, that is awesome. Teach
That's
us.
my friend.
Teach us.
So as they're looking, I think Witch is going to turn over to them and say, something else that might be handy for this too is maybe have something ready for a distraction. Is there anything kind of nearby that maybe smash up or set on fire at the right time? Just to draw things away if the logics start coming after us?
As a tip for roleplay, it might be helpful for you to look at your convictions that you have and sort of build what you want to do and how you want to act based on your convictions, so that when it comes up, like, you sort of have those lined up and ready to go. Or not. I can't
So-
tell you what to do.
As far as this fence goes, it shouldn't be any problem for me. I should be able to. I know it's topped with razor wire, but it's barely 4 meters. Pretty sure I can jump it.
Better than you than me. I am not athletic at all.
And from the inside, I can open it on this this side gate. It's not guarded.
Also delighted to take advantage of this small pause. Instead of pointing to the Kickstarter, I'm going to thank everybody watching, because we have now gone up to 9,375, which
Woo!
is a little bit of a boost since we started. So thanks for everybody who was watching and backing. Appreciate you a lot.
I am now excited for books. More
As
books
long-
on my shelf.
As long as you can get me in, I think I can get the data. I should be able to get the data.
They trust me there. I can definitely like ask them just as like a curious guy where the data is stored. And I can
Um,
message you. I've got the encrypted app.
So then, if you know where it's at and you know us, then I can make
Mhm.
Panda an invisible panda, and
A slightly chaotic and manic glee look pops up on Panda's face. A little bit of a manic smile. It's like, yeah. No sound, just the
So-
smile.
So for this scene, ultimately, you're going to have to describe what you want to accomplish. I think that just simply learning about Kingu Corp is a little bit maybe underwhelming. So maybe you want to mess up or destroy the high school's record systems of of food, or maybe you want to rally the community or public
high s-
relations. What do you want to do
What
exactly?
What if we make what Vorrt? What if we work towards making what Vorrt or Panda was trying to do with a simple, quick hack that didn't work, actually work for good? To set up something where there's like an actual fund for kids who don't have the money, or maybe for all the kids, and then have it be advertised on MetaBook, and you got to have it come from their servers so they can't shut it down, so that they're essentially locked in. The money's already transferred, but then also it's a PR thing too. Like if they go
I
back on
can't
it,
back out of it.
right?
yeah,
Which that is fantastic. I love this.
But to do that, you really
Oh.
have to break it and get actual access to the hard like server thing.
So you, if I hear you right, you want to send out, like, you basically want to create code and then send out the idea that Metabook is funding school lunches.
Well, the Kingdom Corp is, but publicly posting that they're doing it on.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah.
basically do a 1-2 punch of hacking Kingu Corp and making them give money to the kids for the lunch money, and essentially making them announce that they're doing it on purpose, so they can't get out of it.
Excellent. All right. The time comes. Is this happening at night or during the day?
Totally a nighttime thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally a nighttime thing. In
Nighttime,
fact,
Either way,
nighttime.
I'll say,
I'm
in
hearing
fact,
that Mission Impossible like background music going on.
I'll say, in fact, what I would almost want to schedule it on a Sunday night,
Mm.
Okay.
so that they have less chance to try to damage control this and say, no, we're hacked, this is false. So no, set it up for a Sunday night trigger.
And in theory, most people have like gone home at earlier times. It's going to be later security.
All right. So it is Sunday night. We'll say it's the final night of your suspension after a week, and you have found out the location of the local servers for Metabook, and you roll up, and it is walled, and it looks a little bit tough to initially get into, but you have an Anti-Corp gang at your back, and you have all of your exploits. So the authority, whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's going to make Kingu Corp look bad. So they want your actions to make you be perceived as the villains. They want to make you seem like terrorists or villains in this scenario. In this struggle, the round robin is in effect still. Violence is ugly is still in effect, and the resistance token is in effect. Right now, the authority myself has the resistance token, and I can use that to re-roll the dice. So if you roll something I don't like, I will throw the resistance token at you, make you re-roll it, but then it will move to your side, and you will be able to use it. But if you use it, then it'll move back. And then whoever wins the struggle will lose the resistance token to the other side. And what scene is this? This is scene 3. So I will claim the number 4. Cliff, by the way, I think you made that up, didn't you? The way that works? The way that's choosing the thing based on the scene?
Yes.
I like that. If you made it up, great. I think you're amazing.
I did.
If you didn't, then
clever.
I'm giving you credit undeservedly, but I like it a lot.
There were other numbers that were chosen for other reasons, I think, in earlier editions.
Yeah.
But it made sense to have easy things to remember that you don't have to look up.
Yes.
I like it.
There was also a chart, a fairly complex chart to determine which number the authority should choose based on how the board looks.
Yeah.
That you would have to refer to and understand in order to for when the authority takes their turn. And I came up with the fairly simple rule of the authority picks a number adjacent to or as close as possible to one just claimed by a youthful offender. Makes it easy because you don't have to remember a chart, and also makes it feel like the authority is right on your heels.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In the original, like it was a well thought out thing, but like you said, it was a little bit difficult to sit there, have to rewind back or remember or look back. But what this system does is it sort of increases the likelihood, right? Because as you go up, right, you get closer to 7, which is sort of the average. And then with the other things that you included, like the resistance token or like the violence is ugly rule or the using the sold out trait, right? You have things that make the authority a little bit more dangerous, which feels really cool to me. So good job for that. It's almost as if you're like a professional at this.
It
Weird.
felt really, really good when I had a chat with Robert Bull, the original creator of Misspent Youth, about the ideas that I had for some special rules. Almost all of them he really liked, but this one in particular about like placing a token close to where, based on just next to a youthful offenders, he just exclaimed loudly when I suggested that. Like he really liked that.
That's
Good.
delightful.
Good.
It was like I got to witness like a eureka moment. So it was cool.
Not a urethra moment.
Oh,
like
That
like
was come on.
come
like
on, no.
Principal Cheese might want.
No,
That's reaching, my friend.
Like
And not the
Professor
good
Cheese
kind.
might. Right. So you are all at Sarah's gonna see. I knew it. I knew Sarah was gonna tell me this stuff. Sarah, I am what I am. You are at Meta Book headquarters in your community. You've showed up Sunday night. There's a wall and there's some guards. Who's standing up to
I
implement
think
your
I'm gonna
plan?
stand up. I'm gonna stand up. Which
Roll
go?
your dice.
And I will roll the dice once I get to the right window for
Can't
that.
wait to make you villainous.
There's some
We can
malice
do
there,
some
my
villainy.
friend.
6. What a glorious number. All right. What conviction are you choosing and how are you going to use it to infiltrate Metabook?
All right. Which is using. I'm gonna go with. Technically, I'm using some of my like special power stuff, but I'm gonna use self-reliant, which means like I believe I can get by on my own. I'm just gonna show like everybody how cool I am. Like I don't really even need the invisibility. Like I'm gonna sort of do this thing where I take off some of my clothes, but I have like a bodysuit underneath there, and I say, "All right, now check this out." And like my skin shifts, and it has like a sort of a visual chameleon like effect that's almost like invisibility. And then I hold up one hand and point it up toward the top, and this dart shoots up and it's trailing a cord. And I go zip on up and climb up to like to where I'm at the roof access point. And then I lower something down, a line down for other people to climb up, and you realize that the object that's connected to the wire or the rope that lets you come up is actually my hand. It's detached from the rest of my arm and is dangling by a cable, and I can use it as like a winch to bring you each up. And I'm almost as invisible as the magic spell people are.
Nice.
I'm doing
that-
all of this. I've built it.
Amazing.
That worked out really, really well. I mean, just smooth like butter, except one of the guards who happened to be taking a drag from a cigarette happened to just be blowing it up at the exact right moment and saw Witch streaming, and now is just about to make a call. And I'm going to claim number 7. Who's standing up?
Uh-oh. 7. Do you want to go that deep?
I am sure. And I got that resistance token. I'm winning this one, folks.
That's what you like to believe.
I'll stand up.
Excellent. Roll those dice.
All right, time to roll.
Lucky 7.
I am nervous but hopeful. I can get my mouse to go where I need it to.
Hey, Cliff, did you roll a 4?
I rolled a 6.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that other thing is.
5.
Another
All
roll.
right. Pick a conviction and tell us how you're using that to implement the plan.
I am going to use Yojin training once more. So as the guard takes a drag from the cigarette and goes to call, there is a puddle of water beside it, and as I'm standing on the roof, I do a motion so that the puddle of water like splashes up into the communicator, which just sort of crackles and fizzles out.
Hmm. So it crackles and fizzles out, and you see him sort of clicking it, and just. But now he knows he's got to say something. He can't do it right away, so he starts running across the courtyard. And I will claim number. What did you just get? 5?
5.
What do I do if there's nothing adjacent?
Closest adjacent, you can pick either. Let's see.
9.
I
8
think
or
3 is
3 or
actually the
8.
closest adjacent.
Is 9 adjacent to 5 technically?
No.
Okay.
So they just rolled a 5. So 2 away would be 3. 8 would be 3 away. So
Okay, so 3.
3 is the closest adjacent. You don't have a choice.
There we go. No choice. No
Thanks,
future.
math.
So yeah, you've got a corporate security guard sprinting from the wall of the compound to the front door of the compound. And who's gonna stand up?
I think I'll stand up. 6.
Oh,
6. Hey, there you go.
Oh, no,
I'm
wait.
going to spend, that's coming. I'm going to spend my resistance token and make you reroll that.
Re-roll a 6. Re-roll a 6. That's not a 6, but it's still a
Oh.
good number.
Yeah.
It doesn't end the struggle.
Snake
So,
eyes.
Pick a
Oh, crap.
conviction and tell us how you are going to implement the plan.
All right, I'm going to kind of continue to like oversee with the magic here because I'm assuming we've already got everybody invisible. Yes. Or do I need to
Couple
invisible
people,
them
I
now?
think. You've already invisibled some people, probably,
Yes.
but
We
Basically,
have not.
you can do all
We'll
of
say
it.
this: if we haven't said it specifically, then you can say whatever is the case now. You can describe it however it is.
So I've picked kind of my stealthier folks who I've been
English.
Invisibled.
Thank you. And with this running guard, I'm going to kind of use my magic to maybe misdirect him. He's heading in one way. I want him to head in the opposite direction. I want him to think that he's going where he's supposed to be going, but he's just not gotten himself turned around.
Confuse him. All right, so he whatever you do to him, he is now confused and running in the wrong direction, running towards the gate, which he apparently thinks is the front door of Metabook. But this is causing some concern for the people who are inside and outside, and they're just looking at him. Now the front door is opening, and people are coming out, scratching their heads to see this guard who was running and starts running backwards. They're just curious as to what's going on. It can't be too much longer before they figure out that something is weird.
ADD's taking him. He can't help it. He's got to move.
I'm going to claim number 12.
Actually, you have to claim the number 8.
I'm going to claim the number 8.
12 was the furthest number from the one rolled, which 2.
That puts me in a
I
funny
assumed
position
that
here.
it was a loop, but I am wrong. All right. And I think there's only one person left to stand up.
That is me. All right. So now that my friends gang have, I'll be the last one over the wall with.
We're losing you, man.
All right.
Roll the
Now
dice.
that- Yes.
Always roll the dice first, and then you can say what you want to do. Don't worry. We went through an entire.
Oh, and you can't force us to re-roll it.
All right, so 6. Who rolled the 6? I'm gonna scroll back up and see who rolled the 6.
That was Dapper, I think.
Dapper rolled the 6 that I made him re-roll.
Oh,
Cliff, you rolled the 6 that's actually on the board, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and that was my self-reliance that I used.
So between Cliff's self-reliance and your whatever.
Boundless curiosity. Or I'm sorry, no, not that. That's not breaching. I'm using breaching here because this is all hacky Gibson-y style maneuver here.
Describe how you win.
All right, so using the invisibility from Char, using the assistance from Witch to get up, I am able to dart in and get inside the building to get close enough to the servers to hack in. Hacking into the servers, I immediately find all the kids deemed too poor by Kingu that are targeted by their lunch ladies or lunch orcs. And using Kingu's money, I just transfer enough funds for them to the entire school year. And then after that's complete, I put the social media blast out there as a PR marketing thing from Kingu Corp says, we at Kingu Corp do care about the little people and want to ensure that the students have a healthy meal. I'm been given the entire year's meals on us.
If I could add something on top of this, if you don't mind, icing on the
Absolutely.
cake, as it were, which is seeing all this security response going on, sort of watching things as Panda's in there, and realizes it's time for that distraction. So she puts in a call to the faceless, and they trigger that distraction we mentioned earlier. And a couple of blocks away, there's a sudden little whoosh of flame as a bunch of fireworks and explosions go off in an abandoned, no longer used building because it's a small business that was put out of business by Kingu Corp, which was deemed a good distraction point. So explosions and fireworks and flames are drawing the attention of the security away from giving Panda the time that they need to pull off the hack.
I appreciate it.
Now you have pulled off the hack. You have you've created this program that has given money to all of the kids. You have done it at Kingu's expense, and you have made it seem like a purposeful um, promotional campaign or a uh, one of those
Here.
things where they try to make themselves look good. It's called a
Propaganda.
yes,
PR
but also
stunt?
PR. Yes, thank you. Like a PR sort of deal. No words tonight.
Words are hard.
Right? Anyway, so this PR stunt that makes it seem like they were doing this on purpose, and it is set to go live tomorrow. You have done it. There is money for the people in the accounts. However, they know it was you because being
I left the panda in their panda image in the files.
It's dancing. It's so cute.
because you could not stop yourself. Uh, you placed pandas, and those pandas, uh, because they're meta book, and you're a teenager. They are able to track you, so they know it was you. They can't stop what you did, but they are coming, and they let you know that they're coming. So let's do some reflection. On page
I just want to
20.
say, point out at this point, reflection is really very much an idea that's inspired by Mr. Opti here in Fragging Unicorn Games' upcoming game Subversion, uh, which includes reflection as part of the regular gameplay loop. And I thought it made so much sense that it would fit so well in Misspent Youth that I just had to put it here. And so far, it's been working out really well.
Cool. Thank you for that nod. Um, on page 20 of the playtest doc, you will see some reflection questions. So we're going to go round robin with these, and we'll start with Cliff. We'll start with you and choose one of these reflection questions and ask somebody else. This dip in the conversation, this lull, this post-scene mellowness might be a good time to mention going to remalternis.com/misspent youth to check out our Kickstarter that is live, where you could purchase this amazing game complete with reflection questions that you can enjoy. And most of it's already written, so it's a pretty low risk campaign, but we need to get to 10,000 in order to make it happen, and we are 93.75% of the
Woo!
way in, and we only need less than 700 monies to do that. So thanks for supporting us. Appreciate you guys. And I hear from Sarah that if we fund before we're done tonight, then Sarah will spend some time after stream reading bad puns.
Live on air.
Please.
Live
She'll
on
read
air.
them on air.
It needs to happen. It needs to be revenge for
make
the
Sarah
other
do
Thursday night
this.
game.
Alternatively, if you pledge all $700 to push us over the edge, you can tell us that you don't want that.
But you
And
do.
we will honor your
I'll say,
wishes.
And to continue with this pause is brought to you by Kingu Corp, who are also proud sponsors of Misspent Youth, because they would rather you act out your real life. Kingu Corp, we own you.
That was a really well-timed pause right in the middle of what you said. It sounded like Kingu Corp edited you.
It did.
Perfect.
Because Kingu Corp.
It was
You
actually
know?
my technomancers.
All right, Cliff, go ahead and give us some reflection questions.
All right, Jace, Goldenboy. Oh, we would just really broke the law right now. I know you're like kind of with us with the resistance and all, and
Mhm.
you do cool stuff, but this is pretty far. How do you feel about what just happened?
I feel great. I mean, I keep seeing the Lojax and Kengu as like this big unstoppable thing, and we just stopped them from doing something. It was really awesome.
It was awesome.
Mhm.
It was awesome how you shorted out that guard's communicator.
And it was awesome how you used your hand as like a zip line. You just whoosh right on the roof.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. I
Like the
mean, it was
puns
cool
about
what
that
the
was
other
never
ones did too, but you know, the
So
hand
many
thing was
hand
probably the
puns.
coolest. All right, that's my
I
question.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to talk over you.
No, I
For
finished.
my reflection question, will ask Char, what has changed about how you view one of the other youthful offenders?
I have gained more respect for Witch than I think that
Mm.
I could have ever had to begin with.
She's so cool.
Really? Like, just put so much of herself in the potential line of fire. I mean, obviously, I'm impressed with Panda as well. The dancing Panda is just a giveaway every time. But such prowess with the arm thing. Amazing. I guess what that then to me,
Yeah.
Hey Panda, what have you learned about your beliefs and values, buddy?
Oh, my beliefs and values are on point. Like everything I'm doing, completely in the right. There is no hesitation. Absolutely everything I'm doing, obviously the right thing to do. And I'll take the last one. And again, to be greedy, I'm gonna uh, answer the question of how do I feel about what just happened. I feel alive. Oh, the adrenaline is just spiking through my veins. I want to keep breaking into places hacking up my nose at the empire, the corporations.
Found your vocation.
I have found my calling.
All right, now we're moving on to scene 4. Cliff, this is your turn to take one of your friendship questions and one of your YO friends and build some backstory.
All right, let's see here. I think I'll follow up with Jace, Goldenboy, and ask the question, what do you wish you could tell me but won't ever say out loud?
I wish that I think that Golden Boy wishes that he could be the kind of cool that Witch is and not the like guy on the inside who like plays it safe with all of the adults. He wants to be the like leather jacket badass and he thinks Witch is the coolest for doing it, but he will never say so.
Awesome.
Right. So this scene, you all reflecting on how cool it was that you literally, as a group of teenagers, broke into one of the most powerful companies on the planet and did something that they can't fix. You are exulting in your righteous accomplishments. You found your advantage and you used it to take Kingu Corp down a notch. So you are free to set this scene however you want, but maybe some sort of celebration. Maybe, what are you doing to revel in what you've accomplished maybe before school, or what are you doing like during school to sort of pat yourself on the back, or still talk about it, like set the scene for your post your post victory warmth with each other. This
All right, how about this? How about this? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was going to take advantage of the awkward silence to promote remalternis.com/misspent youth, where you can purchase future copies of this game, which is called Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line, where we put relationships with friends and falling in love over getting in line and doing what the man tells you to do. You can be part of this role-playing rebellion simply by spending your hard-earned capitalism monies.
Capital. Our
Hey,
greatest.
we don't have to respect that we have to hustle in order to respect each other's hustle.
Well put.
I'm making
Actually,
that up
yeah.
as we go.
Isn't that usually how this kind of thing goes, though?
It is like, hey, listen, we all are forced to do this thing, so we might as well, support each other as we do it. But Cliff, you were gonna introduce something.
I was, but I'd like to maybe say that I'm the person who wrote this stuff, so maybe somebody else should take the lead on setting the scene.
I think it would be fun since Panda already made it clear who was the one who did the hacking. If in addition to the bonus money in everyone's accounts, each of us got like a certain amount of credits, and we're celebrating in the cafeteria the next day with like the most expensive, fanciest possible meal.
Milkshakes with gold shavings on top.
Indeed. I've rigged up the soda fountain to run like a fountain. There's like a waterfall thing going on. It's kind of irritating. There might be some stickiness going on the floor. I don't care. It's beautiful. There's
Yeah,
so many
Oh, yeah.
colors.
Glorious.
And the other kids are getting into it too. Like everybody has so much more money than they could possibly even imagine having available to spend in the
Mhm.
cafeteria or are used to. Like just everyone's going nuts with buying stuff. And
Yeah.
oddly enough, it's like it might be playing into King Corp's hands a little bit because the money's going back to them by being spent at their things. But like, who cares? The kids are having fun, and we just are having like this crazy party vibe in the cafeteria.
Guys, I've invited everyone to make a sandcastle, but instead of a sandcastle, it's made out of cheesecake.
I'm making a sandcastle moat out of the soda, and like it just starts dumping the soda on top of the cheesecake.
So everybody is excited. Like this is a crazy. Like everybody's enjoying this. At a certain point, Panda, somebody passes you a note. It's it says, "I want to thank you personally. I'm over here in the corner." And like you look over in the corner and there's a couple of people waving at you like this.
Panda's got swagger. Panda don't know better. This is thrilling. This is thrilling. I'll be like, guys, I'll be right back. My fame precedes me. I will head
Yeah.
over to the corner.
Which is not responding because she's like currently impressing everyone just how much uh, soda she can ingest all at once directly from the funnel of the soda mixing machine. Because of course she's got the cybernetic tanks to hold more.
Once Panda makes it over to the corner, and is talking to these people over there who were flirting, and you're having a good time flirting with them. Like
Oh,
they're
I am
just super
flirting
into
back
you.
as awkwardly and as awesome.
You get a couple. Everybody gets a couple of dings. Panda, you don't, but everybody else starts getting a bunch of dings on their phone. Kingu Corp has demonetized you and your families, and are starting to demonetize people who are still friends with you on Metabook. Everybody that you know is going to start starving within a few weeks. And out of the corner of your ear, you hear ah, and Panda, the door in the near the corner, right? So sort of it looked like a supply closet, opens up. The people that you were flirting with sort of run away sheepishly, and a law-jacked hand brings you outside the cafeteria into a room, and you start getting pummeled by a law-jack. So you all get the texts, you get the messages, your life is falling apart, and Panda, you see a blue metal lawjack hand jank him out of the cafeteria through these metal doors. And I am going to claim what is this, scene 4? I'm going to claim number 5. And what I want to have happen in this struggle is the people in the community will shun you and your friends, leaving you to suffer and fend for yourselves, establishing an ultimate fear within the community that if Kingu Corp crushes you, you are on your own. Now you get to choose a hope for yourself. I'll give you a couple of suggestions. Either Kingu Corp's demonetization campaign is perceived as cruel and unjust, creating resentment as well as damaging the company's public image, or the people in your community begin to work together to take care of the demonetized, providing them with places to stay, food, medical care, social acceptance, even at the risk of them being demonetized for helping. If you can come up with something else, I encourage you to do so, but those are some defaults if you want something to hang on to.
I think we go with demonetization campaign is cruel because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who,
Yeah.
who wants to be the corporation known for telling kids they can't eat? I mean, that's just bad. That's just bad company policy. If you don't have kids, they don't grow into adults.
So because Kingu Corporation hasn't revealed why they're demonetizing people, you think you have a sort of in to point out that they're doing wrong, right? To point out that their demonetization of you and your friends and your families is unjust, and that's what you want to accomplish. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm down.
All right. Special rules for this one: round robin. Violence is ugly, and the resistance token. Since the authority lost the last one, they have the resistance token back. In this one, the authority is claiming both 5 and 9. Because I'm gonna win this one.
You think?
So yeah, who wants to stand up?
I'll stand up.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Roll
Which
those
is
dice.
super pissed off at seeing Panda getting grabbed by a logic. So I'm gonna roll some dice. Or somebody tells me I can't remember the rules.
5 or
of the game, I
9.
won't.
5 or 9, baby.
Nope. Not gonna happen.
What's fun about this
4.
dice mechanic is that sometimes the struggle will just end right away, right?
Actually, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No, it
There's a
doesn't today, but
special rule.
somet-
No,
what's
there's
that?
a rule that I put in this game because nobody likes it when the struggle ends on the first dice roll. So on every scene, every roll, it's a regular, not a special rule, just baked into this book of the game. If you happen to roll what the authority has already placed on the very first dice roll of the struggle, you instead choose an adjacent number.
Okay.
The kid gloves thing is adds on top of that for the first scene that prevents you from losing from your first bad dice roll after that point. But
Mhm.
every scene, if the first dice roll would end the struggle, instead it just goes adjacent.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So
I missed that one. I think that's actually a recent addition.
it is. It's my addition because I've been
Bye.
playing some Misspent Youth and I had some struggles end right away, and everyone hated it.
You see that? Cliff has some struggles, and he learns from it, and everybody benefits. That's how this is supposed to work, folks.
I
That,
mean,
that folks right there is what we call live errata.
That's yeah. That's life errata. All right,
So-
so
Hey.
that
Cliff.
said, I'm going to be a little bit cocky here, and I'm going to just not care about a certain rule because Witch is super pissed about a lawjack
Yeah,
attacking
she
Panda.
is.
I'm going to stand up using my illicit cybernetics. I go rushing forward, and as I do, I just move super fast with like just inhuman speed and reflexes. And as I do, there's this shink sound of like both my hands sprout these like long, like 2-inch long, razor sharp metal claws. And I go barreling through the door, and like there's a Wilhelm scream and bits of blue armor and blood flying back out from where the lawjack was, and Panda scrambling backwards, looking back in fear and horror at what is happening to this poor lawjack, as Witch is just laying into this guy with all of her cybernetically adjusted might. And I am doing lots of physical harm to this person.
so now we invoke the violence is ugly special rule,
Ooh.
and the authority is now going to claim 2 numbers. So as this lawjack gets absolutely dismembered by a teenager with a cyber arm,
Oh,
the
bro,
lawjack
you
the
need a
lawjack
slap chop.
the lawjack body camera is catching all of this on film, and and the people watching it like sort of go into like freak out mode, like, oh my gosh, this is a school, this can't be happening, we need to get down there. And there's probably no bribing the guards this time.
Oh, come
As you hear the
on.
familiar clack 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 clack, not just simply walking, but you start to hear them running in. And I'm going to claim 9.
claim
Sorry, I'm going to
3.
claim 3 and 6 because I get to claim 2 because
Yeah.
Witch used violence, and now the Lawjacks feel that they can use violence as well, and they are actually eager. So you hear the Lawjacks clumping in. Who's going to stand up?
So mechanics question,
Yeah.
Yes, go.
real quick. So in this case, since violence is ugly, they get 2 tokens. If someone were to then commit violence again, do they get
2 more.
another 2? Okay,
2 more.
so it does stack. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah,
want to stand up.
using lots and lots of violence is a good way to like get your butt kicked pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up next.
Yeah.
I know there's cameras everywhere.
Roll.
Everywhere.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
So that's
Spin
what
the
I'm
wheel,
gonna
make
do
the
first
deal.
is roll the dice and pray. Oh.
Wah, wah.
I-
Now,
all right.
you have a choice to make.
Yeah, let me
You
look
can
at my
either
choices.
choose a conviction and tell us how you tried and failed and got absolutely plastered for even trying, or you can sell out one of your convictions and win and make all your friends horrified with you.
Take this awkward pause moment to advertise.
What?
Just
While
wanna
Vorrt
say
is
that
reflecting.
If we take the loss on this, so the scoreboard is scene 1 doesn't count because there was a sellout. Scene 2 and 3 gave us 2 points. The authority has 0, and there's only one more scene.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and tank it. I'm gonna fail it. The attempt that I was going for is I wanted to bring them just beating my character up and broadcast it to everybody, showing that these guys are just up for apparently is no reason. And in my efforts to try and do that in tanking it, I kind of show what Witch does instead, and I don't realize it.
I love it. So you try to broadcast the brutality of the Lawjacks and instead broadcast Witch tearing the limbs off of Lawjacks in a broom closet.
Yeah, there's like the logic going,
Hilarious.
oh my god, no, I give it good. Which is like, oh no, come here. I got more for you. Shake. Screaming.
My goodness.
Apathetically, no, Witch, that's how people get scars.
Heading into scene 5, the score is 1-2. So the authority could potentially pull up and maybe even the score. So the Lawjacks arrive, and you are all taken not just to the principal's office. You're taken to a holding cell where you can be monitored so that you cannot do any more damage. Your families have visited you once. They're freaking out because they don't now they've lost their jobs. They don't have access to any money, and the authorities' objective, which means that since you've been demonetized, they've shunned you. Your families have been demonetized, so your families have been shunned. Everybody who remains friends with you has been shunned, and you have no means of fending for yourself. So between you and the Anti-Corp Gang, that is all that stands between you and starvation, all that stands between you and losing your homes, all that stands between you and not having any sort of community at all and falling into complete destitution. You are not in a great place. And your violence and your rebellion and your assault on the status quo is now causing you to question what you've done and why you did it. Let's enter into the reflection phase. Let's start with Vorrt. Why don't you choose one of the reflection questions on page 23 and ask away.
Mhm. Here. Goldenboy.
Mm-hmm.
What has changed about how you think of the authority after seeing the violent beating of Panda and the subsequent retaliation by Witch?
This is the first time that Golden Boy has seen like non-propaganda violence, like in real life to someone he cares about, and he's like absolutely shaken and horrified and like can't look his dad in the eye when he gets home, like imagining what he must have done. I will ask Char, what do you want to do next?
I want to crush this corp under the heel of my boot.
Yeah.
They have zero right to do what they are doing, and to do it so flippantly. Let's do. Hey, Witch, your view on the other Yos changed at all, friend?
Change about my views of the yeah, I think I've learned that Char is really helpful with the money when that can help, but like the invisibility spells are fine, but when it really comes to rock in a hard place, just doesn't have anything to step up with. So
Ooh.
maybe there's someone I got to watch out
Oh.
for rather than think they can watch my back.
Ow.
Sorry, I'm a little bitter right now.
No, you're good. You're good. It's fine.
Oh, it's great.
No, I'm digging the character development.
I should note that Witch absolutely got thrashed in the aftermath of this.
I imagine like super ultra tased, right?
Yeah,
And then beaten and
just
then
like absolutely got their cybernetics shut down by remote, and then absolutely just got the snot beaten out of them with logic taser maces. Um, and so they
So-
are not looking good, and they're probably hurting as they lay sort of bloody in a holding cell.
So yeah, what have I learned about my beliefs and values? I've learned that they really don't matter much. Pretty much amount to nothing. I've got awesome cybernetics. I've got all this outrage. What really boils down to it, the cops are going to tase me and turn off my cyberware and throw me in a cell after beating the direct out of me. And best I can hope for is to get a chance to spit in their faces while they do it.
Mhm. Steph, do you have a question?
Oh, that was my question. I asked myself and I answered.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. This next one is back to Vorrt. We're entering scene 5. A friendship question from Panda to one of the other youthful offenders. Now might be a good time to point you to our Kickstarter, where for as little as $30, you can get access to Misspent Youth, Fall in Love, Not in Line, where you can be a teenage rebel fighting against the adult holes who are making the world a worse place. This is the best narrative RPG you will ever play that has the themes of both tearing down the bad and building up the good, which really is what we should all be about anyway.
I have to say, as a GM, I'm really not a GM. Is the lead writer for this person who wrote in the violence is ugly rule. I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to invoke it, and that it also potentially kicked our asses. Because like it was the number that failed was one of the extra number. Was one of the numbers that could have been the extra number caused by the escalating violence response, and that was just perfect. Thematically, it played out
Mhm.
just how I wanted.
I will say the violence is ugly rule is probably my favorite part of what I've learned about this game so far. I really like it.
I agree. It really I've got a couple groups that will like murder hobo their
Just
way through a
pummel, yeah.
campaign. I really, really like this that it takes it and it forces you to think of other ways to approach the problem.
Yeah.
Well, the violence is ugly rule, I think, is a equally uh, equal part collaboration between Robert Bowl, Opti, and myself.
Yeah.
Because there was a
Robert,
rule like that in the Demi-Humans game that
right.
Robert Bowl was working on shortly before retiring. And then Opti reminded me of this as I was writing it, and then I implemented it.
Yeah. And it's I mean, in the conversations that Cliff and I have had personally, like this is just on point for how we just want to see the world.
Mm.
We just don't want to hurt people as we tear down the bad, right? The bad is not people. The bad are our systems. The bad are like ideals and things that have been built, but people are valuable. People are they have worth, and they're not better off having been beaten to death.
But also that people are always more valuable than property.
Yeah.
And that there's a distinction between violence that harms people versus what
Mm.
people would say is unruly violence that damages property and invokes then uh you know physical human violent responses to put it down. So
Go back our Kickstarter.
yeah.
Important.
All right. The question I have is for Goldenboy.
Mm-hmm.
What assumption did you make about me that turned out to be wrong?
I feel like particularly after the incident with the principal's computer, uh, I just started to assume that you were like a goofball who like wasn't necessarily invested in of like, oh, here's the dancing panda, da 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 da, but actually seeing you like get beat to a pulp and still want to stand back up and spit in the face of the corporation and of the school. uh I have a newfound respect and I realize my assumptions were incorrect.
I will take this brief pause here to say that my favorite rule right now is the friendship questions. I like the fact that they
Mm,
open-ended, not targeted, and allow for the whoever's being asked the question to just do whatever they want with it. Not
yeah.
it is a question that is not on the rails. It is a question.
That is also Sarah's favorite part of the rules.
I thought Sarah's favorite part of the rules was the puns that are inherent.
Well,
Hey.
So
the
puns are
scream
definitely
of
not her favorite.
no.
so now you are in jail, or not in jail. You're in a holding cell. Golden Boy, your father shows up. Lawjack Captain McMahon shows up and doesn't even speak to you, but starts but gets you out of the cell and is basically has you by the scruff of the neck and is just dragging you out of the uh the holding cell. What is everybody else doing?
I stand up. The thing.
This isn't a struggle. Just tell me what you're
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
Tell me what the
I
scene is. Tell me how you're feeling.
am raged. I am seething in the corner of this holding cell and just staring at my hands and watching heat come off of them in waves.
How's everybody else reacting to Golden Boy being being pulled out, or just reacting toward to being held in a cell, or reacting to tearing someone apart, or reacting to seeing your friend pummeled to a pulp.
As the one who's pummeled, I'm very, very not cooperative with any of this. Like, I'm not being antagonistic, but if they ask me questions, I sit there. If they try to guide a conversation and be friendly, I sit silent. If they press it further, it'd be like, no, I just don't answer.
I think Witch is sullen and quiet and just sort of introspective, but also I think maybe she's strapped into a Hannibal Lecter kind of restrainment device at the moment.
You are not, maybe.
No?
Maybe
Hello,
maybe you had your cyber arm removed and it is sitting on a desk about 10 feet from you.
Violating bodily autonomy. That is just
Ooh, can I see the cyber arm? Is it in view? Are we all in the same spot?
You can see it, yeah.
I walk over because I'm assuming that we're barred
Witch
in
is
here,
like
yeah?
huddled in the corner of her cell, then is like just trying to be part of the corridor in the shadow and like doesn't want people to see her.
Sorry, I had an idea. I didn't mean to override you
Nope,
with
that's fine.
what you said. I shouldn't be doing that as the GM. I got excited about the idea.
I got a plan.
At length, Captain McMahon turns to Goldenboy and says, I'm going to make sure that your friends get sent to the Purgatorium and work off a never-ending debt. And then I'm going to send their parents there. And then I'm going to send all of your friends there. And I'm going to make sure the rest of your life is miserable because you have made my life incredibly miserable and embarrassing. And it has taken everything, every bit of change in my pocket and every bit of social capital that I've been able to gather to get us out of this. And I'm going to make sure that you learn this lesson, that there is only enough room to look out for yourself. So the minute we step out of this building, your friends will be probably better off dead. And then he starts dragging you out of the building. And I'm going to call for a struggle right now. The authority wants to publicly discredit all of the YOs and their message, and then send you to the purgatoriums for life.
And who's getting dragged out?
It's me.
Goldenboy is getting dragged out right now. What do you want to happen? What's your hope? How could this possibly go well?
I don't care if it goes well.
I hope that the faceless bust us out of here with the help of public demonstrations and like I don't know, cool montage.
My hope is for all of the students at the high school to march and protest in a number that cannot be ignored or easily put down.
Well, you guys can only choose one. So what's it gonna be?
How about the kids from school provide the distraction that allows the faceless to bust us out of prison?
1-2 punch.
I like it.
And I got my arm back.
Oh, don't worry. As soon as we get out, you're getting your.
All right. So I will start the struggle, and the struggle begins by Captain McMahon forcefully taking Goldenboy out. And this is scene 5, so I'm going to claim number 6. Don't forget, since you lost the last scene, you have the resistance token invoked by scene 4's resistance.
Hate to ruin that fun, but
what?
If you look at the special rules for the struggle.
Oh no. The rule in scene 5 says at the end of this struggle, discard the resistance token. It will not be used in the last scene. Oh man, here we go. Here we go.
Also, there's another special rule. Desperate circumstances.
Oh, scene 5. Let's see. The resistance token is not used in struggle of desperate circumstances. This is a desperate battle, and you're going to have to put it all on the line to win. When the authority takes their turn, they claim 2 numbers unless the YO that just stood up used either a sold-out conviction or their disorder. If a YO stood up using their disorder or a sold-out conviction, the authority claims only 1 number. Now,
Does everyone
Cliff,
know what disorder means?
no.
Your
Disorder
last
is your
conviction?
special conviction. The
It's your last one listed, yeah.
Okay.
Now, Cliff, you had previously said that if you use a sold-out conviction, the authority claims 2.
Now it's flipped because it's
Flipped.
all
Okay.
in and a
So for
desperate battle.
this, for desperate circumstances, winning is the only thing that matters necessarily. Okay.
So you can only use a conviction once per struggle, and unless you sold out a conviction, you only have 1 conviction you can use that doesn't give the authority an advantage, and that's your disorder. That said, one of us did sell out earlier, so they've got 2 choices. That said, you can lean into using your other ones if you really want to. It just lets the authority get extra tokens, like when I chopped up a guard.
All right. Who's going to stand up first?
I still have an idea if you guys are okay with that.
Idea
Go
for
Go for it.
what?
I'm going to, well, see if I can stand up here and roll this. 7. Wait, cool with that.
Good one.
Good
And I'm
roll,
going
good roll.
to start off this distraction. I know this is a bad idea, so I guess I'll leave this up to GM as far as whether it falls under my overconfident or if it falls under my spells. Because I know
GM doesn't
bringing
get to
attention to
make that
myself.
call. Only
Okay,
you
cool.
do.
Then I'll argue that.
You don't have to argue. You get to declare.
I know. Yeah, no, we'll go with overconfident because this is a horrible idea. I am bringing attention upon myself. I walk up to the cell. I don't know if it's, but we'll go with bars. And I let out this banshee-like wail as I wrap my hands around them and using my fire abilities begin to melt the bars
The bars on the cell
on the holding
begin
cell.
to melt, which causes great alarm, figuratively and literally. An alarm starts to go off, and Lawjack Captain McMahon whips his head around to look back while still having Goldenboy in a forceful embrace, and the Lawjacks begin to gather headed towards the cell. You rolled a 7, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So somebody had already marked that for me. Okay, I'm going to claim. Was that one of your disorders?
Yeah, that's my disorder. That's my overconfident because this is a bad idea.
Okay, then I'm going to claim number 8. And who's going to step up next?
Well, you have to take the hit and declare what you're doing.
What's
Don't
that?
forget that part.
I
The
did.
authority. Take the hit and then declare. Oh, you did. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I missed it.
Yeah, the Lawjacks go into lockdown and then grab their maces and start marching towards the cell.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's totally it.
Who's gonna stand up? Because you got Lawjacks headed your way, and you got a Lawjack captain still holding Goldenboy. This awkward
Which is
silence is
feeling
brought to you
helpless,
by
huddling.
remalternis.com/Misspent Youth. Go support us.
At
What's
this
that,
point,
Cliff?
Witch is feeling helpless, huddling in the corner of her cell. Definitely not likely to stand up.
That leaves 2 of you.
How are you feeling, Panda? I feel like Goldenboy staying in peril for longer is more narratively interesting, but if you don't have anything in mind, I can think of something.
I have.
Can I just pause
something.
right there to say that is exactly the kind of push and pull negotiation that we like, right? This is a collective storytelling thing. So for you to say, I could do something, but I think it would tell a better story if I just remain like, that's brilliant. Love it.
I'm so
That's
glad.
exactly what we want to see. Yes. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an idea, but I don't know how to respond to it.
Nice thing is you don't have to have an idea to stand up. You just have to be willing to stand up.
Yeah, just roll the dice.
Just stand up.
Robert always says, just make it happen. Just roll the dice
All right,
and then
roll the
figure it out
dice.
later.
I have 4.
All right, so pick a conviction.
I'm picking Breacher again.
Is that your disorder?
No.
Okay, so I get to claim 2 after this. Go ahead.
I am hacking Witch's arm to activate it to crawl into the cell to Witch.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. So it crawls back to Witch, lands somewhere near enough to, to be noticed and grabbed.
Taps on my shoulder, right?
like cousin it. Meanwhile, Lawjack Captain McMahon puts Goldenboy in handcuffs and shoves him into the corner and takes out his special shock mace named Vince, and is going to
Vinnie Mac? Is it Vinnie Mac?
It's Vince and McMahon are going to kick some ass, kick some bottom hole. Sorry, Twitch. In the yeah, he's gonna come and take care of this because he's had enough. And I'm going to claim. What did you roll? 4? I'm gonna claim 5 and 3. Man, this board is not looking good for y'all. So we're down to Janatee and Mr. Johnson. You two can choose to stand up.
How is Witch feeling? Is she still cowering? Have things changed with the hand?
I mean, it could be having a transformative moment here, but I think she could need a minute. So I'm willing to see if I'm going to get that chance. If you want to stand up here,
Okay, I will
think
stand
Goldenboy
up.
needs to stand up to his dad, maybe
Mm-hmm.
Roll the dice.
for once
10.
in his life.
So bitter. All right, got a 10. Which conviction are you using?
10. I will use righteous, which is my disorder. And like as he is cowering in handcuffs, he's gonna say, it's not right that some corporation can make you hit your own kid just by taking away anything. I should be in there with my friends. I suppose this gives my father pause.
Yeah, your father is not used to you standing up to him at all. Much less, invoking emotion to do it. You've always just sort of done what you were told. And so he turns around and he's like, you would put these friends above your family? You would want to be demonetized along with them? You would see our family brought low because of your friends? He and he's gonna turn around, and because he's embarrassed and because he's called out, because he doesn't know what to do and he's anxious and all the lawjacks around are looking to him for what to do and to restore order, he raises his hand to you as if he's going to absolutely give you give you the business with his fist. And I will that's awful. The authority sucks. I'm gonna claim 9 and 11.
No, you only get to
Just
claim one.
Oh, that's right. You used one.
'Cause
Okay,
I used
so
disorder.
I'm gonna claim 9 then. Good call. Good call. I don't get to be too powerful today.
Right.
But now, Mr. Johnson, you're the last one that can stand up.
Word
Yeah,
sucks.
so as this is going on, like Witch's cybernetic hearing is like honing on and like mapping out the different uh, hallways through echolocation and providing a heads-up visual display for her and playing out the scene so you can just hear what's happening and like this tirade against Goldenboy after he stands up to his dad and does a super heroic thing, and like her arm is just tapped on her shoulder and she sees it there and like looks over to Panda who gives her a wink and just feels super awesome and badass. So she's gonna stand up. And I'm gonna roll some dice.
Spin the wheel, make the deal.
A 3.
Wah, wah.
You know, that's okay. That's fucking okay. Because I'm gonna sell out my illicit cybernetics over to Cyber Psycho.
No.
So I pick up my arm, I stick it over
no.
my shoulder, this latching thing as it moves into place, and then Goldenboy's father's about to raise his hand. There's this bang sound, like what? And then bang, and then clang, clang, clang. And he looks back, and there's this twisted wreckage of the bars that were blocking Witch's cage, and comes skittering out, like up and along the side of the along the wall and on the ceiling, crawls along the ceiling and drops down in front of him, eyes glowing red, head twisted impossibly sideways, and says, "Oh, I don't think so. That's not how things are going down today, Daddy." And whacks him with one hand. Just bitch slaps him so hard he bounces off of one side of the corner and then the other and flops down unconscious. And the witch turns over like like her head sort of swivels around and clicks back into place, and she looks a little cockeyed at Jason, says, as her eyes turn back to normal, says, "Come on, you ready to go? Let's get out of here. This place is scaring me."
Uh-huh.
Said witch slap, by the way, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
witch
yes,
slap.
witch slap.
So yeah, now my illicit cybernetics is sold out to Cyber Psycho. I have a reputation for being unstable due to my extensive modifications. Maybe it's even well earned. I think that's a bit slanderous myself, but I did write those words, so.
You are by the door and you hear a sort of rumbling outside the door. The Lojacks behind you begin to back off and they start talking with each other and checking their radios. It seems there is a commotion outside. Outside, there are a number of teenagers who have apparently been watching this. Somebody had been recording it on Metabook and had been watching this whole thing take place and have gathered around. All of the kids who you've been paying lunch for had been gathering around and have staged a protest. Meanwhile, you hear a sort of low rumble around the side of the room, or in a side room, and uh, uh, a head pops out, a long-haired, bearded head with a golden and red bandana, and it's one of the faceless. And they say, "Hey, guys, come on, quick!" And they beckon you towards a little hole that they've made in the side of the Lojack holding facility that you can escape.
Yeah.
And Panda
Between-
makes like Lupin the Third and just dives right out.
Yeah, in fact, between Witch's fire and or rather not Witch's, Char's fire and Witch's just yoinking like metal bars off of things, we get out of there quick.
Mhm.
What happens when you achieve your hope? What's the immediate aftermath?
Immediate aftermath is Kingu allows students who are not able to afford to purchase from their food stalls the ability to home or subsidizes those students.
Yeah, maybe they reassess the cost benefit analysis of feeding kids.
This is not worth it. So reflection, instead of the group reflection questions this time, we get to decide the episode question. I think we've all come to a conclusion, right? We think that maybe the food program, at very least, right? This is sort of maybe one of the least monetarily successful things that they've tried. This is probably something worth just abandoning, right? It's probably cost more to fix the side of the logic or the damage to the logic holding tank. And you all have a total of 3 episodes won, and the authority has Kingu Corp has only 1. So you have won.
We have 2 that we won, 2 that
Oh,
I
that's right. You
scored because
sold
of
out this last
sellout.
one. Yeah. So it's
They
still
don't
2 to
count toward
1.
anything at all. So yep, out of 3, 2
Still
out of
2 to
3.
1. Get out of here.
Good.
Get out of here. You still won. And when you win, you get to do one of 2 things. One of 3 things actually, but only 2 of them apply here, I think. You can either well, let's see, Cliff, you have bad ending, good ending, tiebreaker. So this is a good ending, right?
Yes.
You can either use subversion, destroying a system of control or an authority figure. You can use creation, which is to choose or design a new exploit for the YOs to use in future episodes. That means like maybe you can add the Breacher Collective or a Lojack Trader to your midst or create a new exploit. Or you could redeem a sold out conviction. That one I don't think applies. Um,
Because you can't
maybe
redeem one that you sold out.
you
during
can't
the
redeem one
same
that you
thing.
sold out, yeah,
Yeah.
during this episode. So what do you want to do? Do you want to take down one of the systems of control, or do you want to gain a new exploit in addition to the gang?
I want to take down the system of control. Kids should not be withheld from being able to have lunch. If they have to bring the lunch from home, so be it. But nobody should be told, no, you can't eat unless you.
Ditto.
Yeah.
So systems of control are demonetization.
I think one of
New
them was new
school.
high school. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll take away the power of the new school. I mean, there's still a school there, but it's not King Corp system of control anymore.
Yeah, like the local community says, we representatives that run the school as well. It is not Kingu alone that controls it.
Or maybe Richard Skinny Cheese is no longer the principal, and they replace him with somebody who is more favorable. Maybe
That sounds good.
maybe the school itself stops demonetizing students. I doubt things would just be perfect there, right?
Oh, no.
Mm,
But
It's not perfect, but even if the school itself is not perfect, the lunchroom is like
yeah.
the kids who can pay to eat pay to eat. The kids who
Yeah.
can't and bring lunches, they get lunches from home or they get subsidies from Kingu because Kingu how badly they screwed this up.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. You have achieved your objective. Kids, at very least, get to eat at your school. And it's all thanks to your absolute extreme measures because you decided to stand up against the authority at your school. Thank you for playing. Thank you very much for
Thank you for
enjoying this
running.
with us. I am
Yeah,
interested.
seriously.
I don't know how much time we have. Sarah will kick us off very shortly, I'm sure. But for those of you who have never played this type of game or never played this game before, how easy or not was it to get you into the action? Did you enjoy yourself, et cetera, et cetera? Give us some commentary.
This was very easy. Like this was absolutely just really easy to slide into. I didn't feel overwhelmed at any point or anything like that. Honestly, like this could be just a fun pick up and play convention game where you don't need to be rules heavy or have people also about knowing everything. It's like, hey, you want to play a game about rebellion?
And it cuts him out again.
Just don't.
Mhm. I've
Um,
run this game at conventions before, and it's gone well each time. So
so I've told a lot of my friends because I play various different games. And one of the easiest games that I've found that I've been like, hey, this is what you should pick up is Monster Hearts. This will replace that.
Oh wow, that's
Wow.
fantastic.
This
I mean,
is so much easier. Not to say that Monster Hearts is difficult to understand, but this is the same kind of flavor that they're looking for.
sure.
And this is very much this is like you said, pick up and play. This is something that myself, who's not always comfortable jamming something, emceeing something, whatever the case may be, can skim these rules and go, okay, yeah, I can run that.
Thanks, thank you. That's good. Good.
Yeah, it was very straightforward, and all of the like rules within what we were supposed to be following like led towards creating like a particular kind of like good play experience, and there wasn't any like waffling on like what is the theme supposed to like. It's very straightforward and more than just mechanics.
Hmm. Well, I had a great time, and
Hmm.
I hope you all did too. And this was super super fun. And again, if you haven't backed our Kickstarter, if it's because you don't have any money, that's okay. We'll give you a free copy. If it's because you have money and you haven't done it yet, that's okay too. Just get around to it before 3 weeks from now. If you haven't gone to our Kickstarter and you're the kind of person that likes to get things done, go do
Do
it.
it.
Go do it now.
And
And give some community copies while you're at it, because that would allow other people to have access. I've heard at least one college professor says that she uses Misspent Youth in their class and to teach, sort of resistance and that kind of thing. And I can't be tickled more. I want to see that kind of thing in libraries. I want to see that kind of thing in high schools and junior highs. That's one of the reasons we wrote Fall in Love Not in Line, because it's sort of flies under the radar a little bit. It's got a little bit
stealth
less
mode.
stealth mode.
Yeah.
That's a word that I've been using a lot lately. So yeah, stealth mode, getting subversive literature into people's hands. Please check it out. It's on Kickstarter right now. Continue. I'm gonna do this. Slam that like and subscribe button. Uh, Thanks, Twitch out there. You're awesome. Rem Alternis, join us for D&D episodicals. Join us for Descent into Avernus. Join us. Decide us for Joresden Files.
tell you what, Opti, you've done a good job here. Let me take over the shout
Yeah,
throws.
do it.
He tried his darndest.
So the first thing I will say is this was a lot of fun. This game is worth your time to back on Kickstarter. And we glossed over it a bit lightly, but this was based in the Neo Babylon story setting from Fragging Unicorn Games. They've linked a couple times with the Tiny Neo Babylon anthology. A lot of amazingly good short stories building out and fleshing out the world of Neo Babylon. Currently Gangs of the Undercity, soon to be right.
You're cutting out, so I have no idea what you said.
Come on, I hate this.
Push to talk is your friend if that keeps happening. No problem. This might be a good opportunity to tell you to go to remalternis.com/misspent youth and back the Kickstarter.
This awkward silence, TM, is brought to you by.
You see, Sarah, I'm very literal, so whatever you say.
I will
Imagine
do
the-
it exactly.
Mentioning the fiction anthology, if you like if you like the idea of a story about a goblin parkourier who has a prehensile tail and smuggles packages around through the undercity of a cyberpunk fantasy area and has to deal with obnoxious gangs and getting shot at. That was the story I wrote.
I dig it.
That
I
sounds
think Vorrt linked
amazing.
to that earlier.
Yeah, so I'm trying this again with the thing. So first off, like I said, Neo Babylon Anthology, great series of stories that discuss the world of Gangs in the Undercity and soon to be Subversion.
And also my story.
Yes, and Clifton's story because Cliff is amazing. As for Rem Alternis, you can catch us here on Saturdays with our D&D episodicals, Descent into Avernus. They are somewhere in Avernus. We don't know where. Normally on Sundays, we have like Clockwork, but they're taking a season break right now through April. Monday nights is Paranormal Albany, the Dresden Files inspired RPG that stars me, the second best character on the stream. Tuesday nights is our Shadowrun missions, which I believe they're currently either they just finished up or have finished and are going to start on the next series. Wednesday nights is our Shadowrun Denver, run by our GM Teslin, as we build our own living community in Denver. And then, as a special treat, on Thursdays right now, we are participating with Gen Con TV and running both the Rules for Cool interview show and the Roll with Rem Alternis, currently starring the Emerald Glitch Shadowrun series.
That was better than I could have done. Good job.
And on Friday nights here, we normally run on the second Saturday or second Friday of each month. We do a chat night, and on the fourth Friday, we do a game night. Our next one will be in May, and that is going to be a chat on world building, which I'm stalling for time as I pull up my list of what that's supposed to be. So go back to Kickstarter, rebelturns.com/misspent.youth. This May will be a world building discussion about superstitions, lucky habits, and things of that nature. Please check out our Patreon if you would like to participate in questions for the panel of guests. It's also a great place to get updated first chance playthroughs of our content. You can join us on our Discord here as well. And we also have the Alternia archives. We have Brutal Kurt Wrestling. We have Indigo Magic, Night's Black Agent, the Like Clockwork episodes, and more that'll be appearing.
There we go. I don't know how to end this. Should we just say bye? Or you just awkwardly hang up the phone?
Game the man, save the empire.
Thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate you. I had a great time tonight playing with Clifton Lambert, who was our lead writer on Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line. Also playing with Dapper and Janatee and Vorrt. It's my first time playing with y'all, I think. So I had a great time. Y'all are great role players. Or if you're not, then you fooled me. And I'm super excited. I honestly, I just love the fact that we created a game that people could just walk into with no foreknowledge and just have a great role play experience. What you experience is only a small slice of what the game allows you to do, because this sort of takes it into a greater context as the episodes go on. So if you enjoy this one shot, you will absolutely enjoy the rest of Misspent Youth Fall in Love Not in Line. And it is kickstarting on Kickstarter for the next 3.5 weeks. Please support us. We would appreciate that. And I think we are now all out of words. So we will see you at the top of the Kickstarter page when this gets posted there. Bye.